Peace, love, and bliss to everyone that is coming in. I hope you guys are having the best of the evening. You know, we're coming with some great information. Me and the brother didn't have a chance to really discuss, so I am just as open as you guys are to hearing what the conversation is. I know the gist of it, but I'm definitely ready for the information. So we're going to get right to it. We're going to welcome our guest once again, Mr. Heru Hainus, already in here and getting ready to get to it. Let's go, brother. How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. What is going on? Yeah, we just, as always, they cut my live short. As soon as it hit the 2 hour mark, the mugs crashed and stuff. So yeah, I get so upset with that. But I'm not going to allow it to discourage me to keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah. So we was having a nice build over there. So basically, what I'll do is I'll kind of go a little bit over what we were discussing there. So many of the articles I won't be able to pull up, but we'll talk about them because a lot of those articles have already been pulled up and resourced in the video that I just dropped. So it won't be, because I know a lot of times people are like, where's the information coming from? And that's what we love to do. We want to be able to produce the receipts, right? We want them to have them readily available and accessible for you too as well. But if you have any doubt in the information that I'm bringing up or any of the information that I'm going over, I've already pulled the receipts for said information. So we're going to be able to still pull up a couple videos that you guys may or may not have seen. Some have probably seen the video partially, and others probably have seen it in its entirety. But one thing that we have to do is make sure that we get the right message from these videos. Okay, we just can't sit back and assume that because it may have been viewed, or we may have thought we heard what we heard. You really didn't hear what you thought you heard. Because this is the problem with this war. A lot of our brothers and sisters remain on certain lines and stuff. Some are straddling the fence because they don't think that it's angled toward them. They think that somehow peace can be achieved and you'll enter some sort of utopia and we'll all be able to work together and hold hands. And history says otherwise. Okay. And it's not, I don't think that it necessarily has anything to do about being chosen by a specific type of ideological outlook. It has everything to do with what nature has decided and what nature sees as fitting for her to continue on. That's one thing that, a lot of things have been pushed on our psyche by human minds, what they see as the way that we should see the world and responsible for our worldview. So we have to be able to honestly evaluate things. And so the title was How the Invention Became the Invasion. And so a lot of people, regardless if they want to accept it or not, don't really understand that if there was an invention, if the Blanco was created, which we know that he was, because he's just dubious about how he was created, right? He says God, then he says, we're in relation to monkeys. He knows that he wasn't here first. That's the whole point. So you would have had to been created. His dispute is who created me. So we've already been able to confirm that that's where the argument lies, not in the fact that he's been created, but who has created or what has created this Blanco. Now, you go even deeper, and if you were to get a little bit more intricate or a little bit more if you wanted something more definitive, you would have to say through all the evidence that is provided in the way that they act now and behave now, that the first one that would have been created would have been the Blanco female. It wouldn't have been the Blanco male. Even as an alchemist, a scientist, when it comes to creation, why would I not create something that could also begin to create itself? If I create a man as a chief alchemist, because we all know the one who's behind that Wizard of Oz character is somebody from our stock. I don't care if you buy into the Inky myth and all of that different stuff or whatever it is, or Yakub myth. What you're dealing with Yakub is one of our people became the brainchild for this operation and allowed it to run rampant. But that also could be what the design part of the design. But if you were to create any being first, you would create a female baby. So the female, in my opinion, from all the evidence that I've gathered, I have a strong belief that it was the Blanco woman that was created, meant to war with the eumelanin species of our kind, called the Black Queen, who we know of as our Black Queen. This is, and we gotta understand too, when people hear me talk like this, they are just, oh, Black women queen, Black woman God. Don't cross the wrong path when you talk to me about that shit, because one thing that you have to understand, and I get this example countless times, we dealing with our ancestors like Henrietta Lacks. She just loved music, dancing, and raising her children. She had no idea that she had immortal cells in her. And from the videos that I'm about to provide to you, you're going to understand that what's so powerful about us, we're not always abreast of. We're not always knowledgeable of. We're walking around here with all of this power, and we We marginalize it. We overlook it because we've been told that we not nothing. And because we feel like we're so poor in their material matrix, we feel like that translates or that carries over or that permeates into our spiritual identity. Nothing could be further from the truth. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up a video right quick. Hold on, allow me to bring it up because this is going to set the stage for it all. So hold on. Let me get this prepped. All right. Okay, so the first one, I'm gonna mute this right quick. It's gonna come. The first video that we're going to show is going to obviously show you the power of iconography and how powerful this stuff is, and then we're going to contrast that with another video, to give you an understanding of why they do this, right, and also to give credence to the argument that I said in the first place, or my hypothesis that obviously the Blanco woman was created first, and why there is such light shed on her existence. Okay, because she is, as I've said before, the diametrically opposed energy to the Black woman. That's what you have to understand. All right. So what I'll do is, so that's wrong. 1 second. Okay. Is that on the screen, sis?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to let this roll right quick.
To some, it may seem like easy money, but the process is invasive, risky, and raises ethical questions when so-called premier candidates can command up to 6 figures for their donation.
Now, I want you to listen to the language that this Blanco's talking about. She said the process can be risky, dangerous. Remember these concepts. It could be risky and dangerous. And she said premier candidates. Okay, so notice how they talking. Look at this Blanco Juju Chang. Notice how Juju Chang is talking. She's spitting straight mayonnaise. So we're going to let you know exactly how she's doing that. But more importantly, you have to understand why they're doing that. All right, but we're going to continue. Let her keep talking.
BBC's Abby Boudreau brings us inside the competitive, sometimes lucrative marketplace.
I'm going to have my 11-day ultrasound.
33-year-old Wendy Garish has been here just about every day for the past week.
Let's look at the right ovary first. The black circles are the follicles.
Wendy is not pregnant. She's donating her eggs for $20,000. Donor eggs are in high demand, allowing attractive, intelligent women like Wendy to command big fees for their desirable genes.
Big fees for their desirable genes. Desirable, attractive, intelligent. They ain't spoke one thing. They did an interview with this Blanco, and obviously when you hear her talk, intelligence is not what jumps out at me, but they're intelligent. She's attractive. She's all these things. She is the prototypical Blanco woman running around here, propagated by society, right? And think about this. They're saying that this skin, which is the largest organ of the human body, this skin that she has is a desirable trait. Yeah. It's like if you're talking about having competitive genes, yeah, you will want some skin that doesn't age well in the sun. But I digress. We'll let her continue. Let's let them keep going.
This looks fantastic.
Yay, good job, ovaries.
She's a tall brunette acupuncturist with a graduate degree. This is her 7th donation.
What's it like to have your eggs in such high demand?
Pretty awesome. I feel pretty valuable. Okay, I'm a good procreator.
Okay, she sounds like a ditz, but don't matter. You go back just a couple seconds. Look at this image. Look at this image. Okay,
like to have your eggs
right here. This image. Obviously, we can see that this Blanco woman right here is pregnant too, and she's giving her eggs. Right. We see the Greek head over there on the wall, and we're gonna go deep off into this because we're gonna get you to realize and understand like these Blanco women are becoming the face, are stolen the position of the Black woman in terms of being the face of sexual energy and intelligence and obviously desirability. Black women know this because that's always been the war. That's always been the war. Okay. So this is one thing that they had to snatch. Imagine, now that we know this was done 8 years ago, the big business of egg donation was done 8 years ago, and they made this blanco the face of fertility, the same race that it has a declining birth rate. How in the hell could they be the face of fertility when they have a declining birth rate? We'll let you figure that out. But no, what we're going to do is we're going to contrast that to this next video. We're going to show you what the truth is. This didn't air on ABC News, right? But let's get into it, right? Just give me 1 second. I know these, go ahead, play. We ain't got to hear you talk, no. All right, let's get into it. Oh, hold on. They started to play it around. Okay. All right, so let's hear this Blanco talk.
SCNT, which takes the stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in. It's called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus.
And notice what he said. He was careful at what he said. He said he puts our DNA in the nucleus. Okay, he's looking for their eggs. Okay, he said perfect beings. He said, me and my investor right here, we're investing in stem cell technology. This is what he's telling these black women right here. And these black women obviously are around these blancos. They look like they just decrepit and falling apart. But of course, these beautiful black women right here, what do they see? They see the bottom line. They see that they may be poor in the artificial matrix, but they rich in the natural one. They're poor in the artificial matrix, but they're rich in the natural one. So since they bought fully into the artificial matrix, they think this Blanco could give them something they don't already have. All right, let's continue.
Just go ahead and take it out.
It's pink Floyd.
Huh?
The pink Jesus.
Yeah, and this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet.
He said it's a part of this genetic greatness we don't see on any other part of the planet. These are two white billionaires. That wasn't what ABC was talking about. ABC said that this Blanco woman running around who's some acupuncturist with a bachelor or some type of degree, she's the one most sought after. Not according to their science, right? And this obviously is not going to air on ABC News.
These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection. And
he says you have a monopoly on this genetic profession. Let's continue.
We want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
And look at this billionaire does. Plays our women like they stupid. I'll pay you $100 for these eggs. And I said this on the previous segment. I said he said this crap like they just got the eggs in their purse and just can give it to them. And then the Blanco woman told you, Juju Chang or whatever her name was, she just told you that those procedures are risky. Those procedures are risky. They're dangerous. And the Blanco woman running around getting $20,000. She didn't have 7 visits already. Come on now. You see what I'm saying? But look how he reduces them to nothing. At the same time, he telling them, he letting them know what their worth is. He's like, man, your genes at the top of the food chain. I'll give you $100 for it. The insult to their integrity and their intelligence is just profound. But let's let them continue.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500 for the Olympic. Whatever I bid, he's going to outbid me. $60,000 for the eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord.
Abortion, very valuable. Umbilical cord. Look what this vampire's saying. Okay, let's go.
You know, placenta. Even your period blood is so rich with stem cells.
He said even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. Now I got a question. Do you think a black man will be able to sit up here and talk to these black women this way? Not at all. Just like a white woman, a black woman wouldn't be able to sit up here and talk to a black man that way. We have such a divide between us, but we don't understand the vampires lurking over us, trying to ensure that they're able to successfully geoengineer themselves geoengineer this planet and engineer themselves through transhumanism to replace the natural matrix. This is a thing. This is an invention gone wrong. That's what I got to get you guys to understand. So let's see. We're going to close this out. Close that out. So we back, right? Can you hear me, sister?
Yes, brother, I can hear you. I didn't hear what you just said last. I
just want to make sure that my audio was A1.
Yep, we good, brother. We good.
All right, yeah. So basically, what I'm trying to establish, and we're gonna talk about a little of what I presented in my video that I just dropped today, was that we're getting you to understand that this invention, understand the motifs of myths and everything like that. When you're dealing with motifs of myths, and I've said this before, but I will continue to keep reiterating it because it's that important. When you're dealing with myths always let you know that the gods and what they create ends up always subduing them or subverting their power and taking power. You notice this when God created Satan. All right, Satan threatens to usurp God's power to the final war. You notice this with if you go back to Greek myths with Kronos and Zeus. Kronos were the Titans. Zeus overthrew the Titans. Those that created them, they overthrew. Look at even in literature, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Frankenstein was the name of the doctor. He created this monster, and the monster ended up killing him. Look at man now in his AI worries. He creates AI. He creates robots, and he fears that robots will eventually take over. Hence his movies like I, Robot and Terminator and etc. The list goes on and on. So gods are always in fear of what they create. We are no different. Through our alchemy, we're creating other beings. We created an invention that eventually became an invasion. We created an invention that eventually became an invasion. And that's one thing that you have to know. So the details are a little muddy, and the point being is that we have to understand who was created first. And why were they created first? I'm going to show you, because they are the stargates that opens up. They are the ones that bring you into this realm. Bring you into this realm through a special type of water. And we know that when the water breaks and that female, they bring you through this portal. Okay. And this portal, as we talked about, is one that has been controlled by these two celestial beings. So in that last slide that I talk about how we have personified these deities, the sun and the moon, and we've made representations of them. We have a sun goddess, a moon goddess. It's all been throughout all cultures. But one of the things that we have to realize is that these deities are in and of themselves great majestical powers. They don't need to be represented by human energy. The sun does a great job of representing this godlike power on its own, and so does the moon. A lot of you know that the moon has a lot to do with a woman's menses or menstruation, right? Some scientists say that there's some significance, others say it doesn't. I provided those articles in my live. But one determination you have to come to, if they were so confused about the moon playing an integral part in a woman's menstruation, then they wouldn't call it menses, because menses means the moon or month. Month comes from the moon. That's what it comes down to. When they orchestrated and came up with their calendars, the first thing that the ecumenical councils had to decide on in 325 CE, that as the Nicene councils, they had to come to the determination of when to celebrate Easter. They decided the first full moon, in the month of March. After the 14th day after the first full moon. So after the first full moon or the 14th day in the month of Nisan in the Jewish calendar, that's when they would celebrate the Easter, or Easter means rejuvenation. We know the symbols of Easter. In the previous video, I talk about how the symbol of Easter, the rabbit and the eggs, a lot of people lost in translation. First, why he picks the white rabbit is to denote the white skin color. Second, while the eggs, since we know that mammals, that the rabbit doesn't lay eggs, we've already let you know that the eggs are representative of the woman's primal energy, her eggs, her ovaries that holds the eggs. Okay, that's why if you look at Esoteric, or I think it's Esoteric, which is the English version of the goddess of Easter, she is represented as seen as Anglo-Saxon goddess. That's how she's represented. And yeah, Sister Soulman, Ishtar with fertility. Yes, because we already know that all their gods are nothing but plagiarized versions of Egyptian gods and the pantheons that existed even before then, right? Because like we said, we can already denote from the science that these individuals are not who they say they are through the mythology, right? Because we already know, how can the Blanco woman be the sign or be the face of fertility when they have a declining population? So what also, just to recap a second before we go off into these next couple articles, this is critical. Much of how white folks come into this world is through in vitro fertilization. In vitro fertilization. That's very important for you to understand, because if you do your research and understand the ovulation period of a woman, she is born with between 6 to 8 million eggs by the 20th week of gestation. Inside of her mother, she now has 6 to 8 million eggs. Did you also know that an egg is 400 times the size of a sperm cell? You should know this. Okay, so she's born with 6 to 8 million eggs, and then as the time through puberty and all this stuff, it begins to drop off. But what happens during the ovulation period? All of these eggs, right, get screened and they age, and they're like age to perfection. All right, and not only that, what happens is only one egg makes it through. So why is this important? It's important because what in vitro fertilization does is just take some eggs. Yeah, they say they mature and they try to test for any abnormalities and all that different stuff, but it doesn't matter. It's because your evaluation of that egg and nature's is totally different. Nature knows what's wrong. That's why it only allows one egg to pass through. Nature knows what's wrong with the rest of the sperm cells. That's why only one sperm cell usually fertilizes that egg. Okay? So this is important for us to understand. So when they go about grabbing random eggs and then forcing the sperm in and then injecting that into the uterine wall, of course, a pregnancy may occur. But was that the being that was supposed to be here? Was that the being that was supposed to be here? So as you can see, this is why they have trouble, obviously, making babies or reproducing amongst themselves, because they're not supposed to be here. Because they're not. Look at the efforts that they have to go through in order to be here. If they would have to rely on natural reproduction, they would have been dead a long time ago. So these are the techniques that they use in order to get themselves across this plane. Okay, so we're going to show you why this is important and why the Blanco woman is the first one that they had to create in order to achieve this. They create the woman first because she holds the creative energy. You see what I'm saying? And then from her, she can have 3 or 4 more. Why continue to keep creating someone who you would have to continue to keep creating? They can just, it's all about being able to be self-refueling. At this point in time, you create the Blanco woman and duplicate the energy from the most advanced being, which would be the eumelanin species, which would be our black woman, and then you allow her to procreate with the men in our tribes. And then from there, they go on to then procreate with the ones that we created by virtue of having more stability within their organism. All right. Now, this is how they control this. This is how they do this. And I'm going to show you as to why this is so important. You better believe all this is by design. So I'm going to share my screen in a second. And we're going to just look at a couple articles. Now, just be patient with me, brothers and sisters. This is going to be important because we're building the framework right now. And then we're going to get into the juice of these concepts.
Can I ask you something about that, brother, real quick? Yeah, what you saying that about the fertility? Now, I'm actually doing a couple of things behind the scenes too, but I am listening, just so you know. So if you call me, I'm here. But I did hear you speaking about that, and you talking about, oh yeah, they're making them the face of fertility. Listen, I really thought this was something else. I was thinking aliens. Bro, don't even get me to go in there. But listen, I was in my own head. But I wanted to ask you about this. So when you say this, now I did a bill about a year or so ago about like the incubator babies, the Cabbage Patch, the clone babies, and where all this stuff come from. Yeah. Now, when you say that and them being the face of fertility, I literally brought this up because now I'm going to say this part, brother. They are the face of fertility, right? Like you said, we're really the only ones that are really have fertile wombs, right? But they are really the face of it because why? They're the ones that have to have the enhancement because they don't have a natural womb. This is why they have the issues with with having the birth issues and being able to produce in the womb, because a lot of them literally are artificial creatures, brother. They have been created in these incubators and things, so they don't have a womb. So with the Raytheon, when I went through the thing about like the Raytheon, me and you talked about this before, I believe too, with the Raytheon and stuff that they use with creating some of them in these incubators when they were doing these test tubings on them or whatever, right? They actually had to have that to help enhance not only the women but the men as far as sexually being able to be active with that particular the process of the Raytheon. So they had a whole treatment, all these different things of like the radium and all this other stuff. So literally when you say that, oh, making them the face, they are the face because they're the only ones that really need it like that. Some of our women may need it because of different things they keep embedding in us and, messing with our system and stuff and changing us genetically. So we don't really need those things, nasty shit. We real fertile. We be having like 10, 20, 30 kids if it was up to us. Like if we could do it, you know what I'm saying? So I don't know. What do you think about that, brother? I'll try and pull some of that up while you're talking.
No, that's a perfect assessment of what's going on. But like we said, because our people are not scientifically inclined, they're going to see white people births as something that's natural, even though, like you said, we know the vast majority of what they do is to use artificial means in order to make themselves pronounced in this realm. Okay, they use artificial means. That's why everything about them is called artificial. They don't deny it. They say artificial technology all the time, artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? But it diametrically opposed in many instances to natural intelligence. That's what it is. We are natural intelligence. And it just goes to show you through them two videos that I showed. Think about this. On one end, do mass media, ABC is a part of that. They'll promote like this Blanco woman is the height of, the features that you need on this planet. When nature says, no, you need color. Artificial matrix saying, no, you don't. What you need is this skin, because this skin will get you through the matrix I created. Although nature is saying, what the black man and black woman have, this gets you through the matrix I have created. But you have a confusion here because, as you notice, and we see this dubiousness all the time, white folks want what black folks want and black folks want what white folks want. They got us feeling like if we could just get our hands on the money. And the Most High is like, yeah, a few of you going to get in, but the vast majority are suffering because everything else that you need, I've already given you. It's them confusing you and convincing you that you fall short of the glory needed, right? So when a Blanco sits up there and says, I'm gonna create a designer baby, the first part of your design is to create a baby with the bad skin. That's what you're telling me? First thing I would want my child to have is to be able to have a connection with the sun. Who wants to worry about a child that they have and have to put lather on with sunblock and sunscreen and take all these different things to make sure internally their body stays chemically stable so that melanoma doesn't erupt? What type of shit is that? That's ridiculous. That's why if any of y'all seen that thing that went viral, remember that they communicate through signs and symbols. Remember that 14-year-old boy who went viral as the smartest scientist of his age? It just went viral not too long ago, about a week or two ago. What did he invent? He invented soap for skin cancer. Okay, so that's one thing that you got to understand. These Blancos are readily aware of that. The point that I was making in my segment that I just got off of was for us to understand what source they come from, because we always try to point to a person, and because we go through what they call anthropomorphizing celestial bodies, like making the moon and the sun men and women, it marginalizes the power the sun and the moon has. They don't need you to turn them into men and women for you to know they're powerful, to know they're gods. You're just not used to seeing a God. So you want to see something human when something great is right in front of your face. So think about, they're associated with the moon. This is a moon people. Now, it's not about whether we are some people or moon people. Black people are both. We are balanced. That's why the yin and the yang symbol is what it is. We contain light and darkness, sun and moon. We're balanced. Blanco's energy comes more from moonlight. That's why you see, matter of fact, I can bring up the article, but if you don't believe me, just take a look at the video I dropped. Presidents are only inaugurated on moon days. If the inauguration falls on a Sunday, they move it to a Monday. They wait till Monday. They may have like a private ceremony or something on Sunday, but they do all the festivities and all that festive stuff on a Monday or a moon day. They talk about how they landed on the moon, right? All this different stuff. They talk about I showed the article in 1968. I still may have that article. 1968, how when they did the lunar revolutions, 10 lunar revolutions around Christmas. Two lunar revolutions around Christmas time. There are moon people. Notice what they talked about, the Fertile Crescent. The Fertile Crescent literally is symbolic of the moon. That's where they say life started, but you got to understand they're not talking about us. They're talking about them. This is the energy that is aligned with them. They are moon people because they are more associated with moonlight. All of them, you know, the movies and stuff you've seen with vampires and wolves. Matter of fact, the first full moon in January is called the wolf moon. That's why you always see pictures of the wolf howling at the moon. But remind you, the wolf is also the entity that allowed Remus and Romulus and Remus to suckle on her breast to survive. All right, further making the connection with the moon. This is one thing that you got to understand. So they are a part of a war that has been going on with these two celestial bodies. When this war happened, that's not really something we can pinpoint on because you're going to get a lot of different times from a lot of different myths, not to mention a lot of these different, I would say a lot of these different cultures had different calendars. So, you know, unless you were able to really go back and do all of the math, you wouldn't know when these things occurred. That's why you always see circa. Circa means about. If you see circa 1400 BC or circa 1400 AD, that means about. They don't even know. You have to know these things when you're taking a look at their science. So they associate themselves with moon energy. Associate themselves with moon energy. And this is what's so profound about this. So one of the things that we have to understand is that when we go into this, this is why they put the blanco in the front, the blanco woman in the front. So we're going to take a look at this one article right quick. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, I think this is it. I believe this one is it. Okay. All right. So is the screen up, sister? Can you see that?
Yes, it's up.
Okay. All right. So it says the white voice, experience and interest dominate education. So we're just going to read a little bit. So we're not going to read a lot because we're going to go into our next article. All right. And it says the white voice, experience and interest dominate education. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, in the 2017-2018 school year, public school educators were 79% white and overwhelmingly female. Of course, when we look at this by school, things get tricky. So it goes on to tell you that. But see, even back then, it was even greater. You're talking about 90%. I know even here up in Michigan, they had forced a lot of our black female and black male educators out. You see what I'm saying? Because they want to take over on this. They want to get your little girls and your little boys conditioned to think that supremacy comes with not only the skin tone, but the white woman in particular. Notice how the white woman plays a lot of key roles in the background. Why you think the blanco man has power? How does the blanco man maintain his power? Through you being educated. Who educates you? The blanco woman. This is deep.
Brainwashing.
This is deep. She puts her man out in the front like he got all the power. But she exercises all the control. Ooh, oh my God, I'm killing you niggas. So then we show you now, we go back to fertility in the sense that we talk about sexual energy. Let's look up this next article. Okay. Why is the white woman worth so much more? Inside the porn industry's overdue reckoning. Okay, let's read a little bit of this. Late last month, several porn companies' statements of support for Black Lives Matter were met with intense skepticism from Black performers. In response to a statement of solidarity sent by the porn site Braziers to Black talent members, colleagues, and fans, performer Christy Max responded, "Cool, thanks. We would love for y'all to diversify your talent and shoot more Black women." Performer Lasha Lane responded similarly to a tweet from Vixen, started by hiring more Black models instead of just tweeting, perhaps. The next day, performer Ricky Johnson started a thread detailing his and other Black performance experiences of racism in the business. Now, you sitting up here, they business is actually fucking, and they still getting discriminated against. Why is this the case? Why is this the case? Let's go down just a little bit. Okay. All right. It says the day after Johnson posted his tweet, the industry trade publication AVN announced that the company would no longer use the terms interracial and IR in its coverage, as well as remove interracial and ethnic categories from the AVN Awards, the so-called Oscars of porn. Vixen Media Group, which owns Blacked, a site that largely features white women having sex with black men, followed, announcing it was addressing certain terms and keywords that have emerged as sensitive, controversial, or problematic. It's unclear whether that applies to the site's name, but Rolling Stone's E.J. Dixon reports that Black is now doing away with the use of BBC, short for you know what, right? An interracial and marketing copy. In at least one case, a white performer vowed to stop appearing in racist scenes. Last week, a coalition of over a dozen talent agencies pledged to address pay disparities related to the color of a person's skin, race, ethnicity, religion, or creed. Now, let's go. This is going to be the most important part you hear about this article. All right? Most important part. Okay, interracial and IR terms routinely used within the business to specifically refer to scenes featuring white women and black men. Understand this specifically. So when we hear interracial all the time, everybody talks about this one guy on my channel talking about it doesn't boil down to black and white, but everything through how they have their society construct does. Why? Because they don't look at things according to societal construct. As we just showed you in the video regarding the eggs of our black women versus the eggs of a white woman. They had already showed you their science, even their Blanco science has stated that they have a monopoly on this energy. They are the highest genetic stock. And that's what they want. And we want some of it, right? So that's what they're talking about. This is what it boils down to. Not no stuff between a Ken and a Karen and stuff. We're not talking about those type of racial inequalities or racial problems. We're talking about the science that lets us know what's really actually going on. So let's continue. White women performers are sometimes encouraged to wait for their first interracial scene in order to land a lucrative exclusive contract. The idea is that an interracial scene is a sort of taboo and part of a series of extreme acts. It ain't taboo. Y'all been doing this stuff for hundreds of years. So we know he lying about that. A white woman performer with a large fan base can, quote unquote, hold out and command a big check for her first interracial. As performer Kira Nayor explained, white women performers often refuse to shoot with black men until they get a high offer from companies for their first IR. Noir recalls doing a days-long reality TV-style porn shoot in which the black men out were pulled aside and instructed to not touch a few of the girls because those women performers had not yet shot a partner scene with a black man and were still holding out for extra money to do so. So you can't make this up, right? So hold on, let me all right. Take that down. All right. So we've seen that when we talk about the face of fertility and the face of sexual energy, this is important. They talk about that it has nothing to do with, oh, yeah, because it's still a taboo. It's not a taboo. This has been your practice. We recommended the movies Rabbit Proof Fence to you. We've shown you how they did the Aboriginals all in Australia, how they showed these individuals that the guy was talking to these Blanco women, telling them the step-by-step process of lightening out the Aboriginal and then introducing them into Western society where they would be considered more civilized. All right. Did the same thing to the Indians. I've been on Sistar channel. We both did this, how they talked about civilizing the Indians. They just bleached them out because they let you know that civility and intelligence and ingenuity is synonymous with white skin. But it's only that way because this is an effort for you to participate in the rituals until they're able to climax and get to the end game, which is world domination. How are they going to do so? By geoengineering. I just read an article, which talked about this year, the Biden administration was considering what they call solar bioengineering. And it was a nonprofit organization attached to that where they go around trying to convince other nations of color to just, you have a say-so in this too, go along with it. They want you to participate in their rituals. Because as I've said before, if our sun would ever burn out,
real quick, bro, on what you just said, because they need us, right? They need you to participate in the ritual because they don't have the energy to put forward in the frequency to be able to magnetize the power they need. We actually literally are the power, the current, everything. So from the sense of what you're just saying, brother, to me, my thing is yes, because they need us. They really literally need us. They need our carbon, everything we emit. I swear, you just hit it.
Yeah, because the important thing is for us to give credit where credit is due. You know, if you want to call your people sun worshipers after everything the sun does for you, I don't care if somebody calls me a sun worshiper. The sun comes up. When the sun comes up and it's a sunny day, I literally feel good. I feel good to see the sun out. I love when the sun out. I hate winter. I hate death. I hate to see death and things die. I don't know about you, but that's me. I love the fact that the sun creates food that I enjoy to eat. Everything about a good life revolves around the sun, literally. So the sun does all of this, and all of a sudden we gonna give our credit away to some being we never knew existed, that they can paint and say is a man. You see what I'm saying? That, in my opinion, is absolute ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And that is absolute blasphemy in terms of how I see things. So like you said, if you take a look at exiting out the characters in the Bible and replace them with the sun and the moon, you start to see who's really at war. Excellent cartoon series that's on Netflix right now is called Doja, Dragon's Blood. They literally do this in the series. It's the sun and the moon, but they represented as two females, white women, of course. You got and then the sun fights, and then the moon goddess fights with the sun. Then she fights against her. They just go back and forth. This is deep shit. If you take a look at the movie Marvels, which just came out, which I commented on, Marvels comes out, and what happens? It's surrounded on our women. And then if you notice, the black woman who played in They Clone Tyrone, she was able to close up the time portal. I'm sorry if I'm, if this is one of them things where, we ruin it for you, but still go see the movie for all of the esoteric messages in it. But what happened was that she did end up destroying their planet by destroying their sun. And so when the movie first starts off, the main antagonist, she's on the moon. She finds this device on the moon, which allows her to manipulate time warps, time holes, wormholes or whatever, and basically teleport. That's what's interesting about this, and basically teleport. And so what she does is through these wormholes is bring in resources to her planet. And the very last thing that she wanted to do is take our sun and bring it into her, take the energy from our sun and give it to their sun. So she ends up failing at that. But the hero, which is Captain Marvel, the white girl, what she does, she's got all this because that's basically the sun goddess. She goes in and she flies into their sun, re-energizes their sun, and brings light back to their planet. Can't make this shit up. If you look at the cartoon movie, Superman, the death of Superman, Superman has to do the same thing. It's these aliens that come, the alien that comes, and they're called sun eaters. They like to eat suns. Okay. And what happens is Superman is a little bit too late. He ends up destroying the alien, but it takes a lot of energy out the sun. So Superman has to fly inside the sun to regenerate it, and Superman dies, re-energizing our sun. That cartoon animation movie is called The Death of Superman. So they let you know what's really actually going on. But see, one thing that they tried to do is through their movies and television shows and things like that is posit or present themselves as they have this balanced energy, like they have the sun and the moon. We know that because we see all of the dark horror flicks about, the with the moon involved, vampires, werewolves, we can go down the list, go down the gamut. Matter of fact, I dare you to try to shoot a horror movie without the moon being in it. Don't nobody want to see a horror movie with the sun all in it, because they know that the sun represents something totally different. You see what I'm saying? And then through the other characters, like they did in Marvel, with Captain Marvel, and like they did with Superman and Supergirl, they make themselves also patronages of the moon, or heroes of the moon. The sun, excuse me. So they try to show you that they have their balance, but the only organisms on this so-called planet that have that type of balance are eumelanin species, or i.e., in other words, crystallogens. And that is you, brothers and sisters. So that's very important for us to understand. But the invention has turned into the invasion. We are already invaded. They talk, me and Sister was talking about this, how they characterize people as aliens when you're not from this country, because they're already letting you know what they are. Mind you, it's about projection. How we got illegal aliens coming to this country, when they were the first illegal aliens, if you were to put it in that context. So it matters. We are waiting for an invasion, and we've already been invaded. We are waiting for an invasion, and we've already been invaded. And the hope is with them is that we won't recognize that until it's too late. The hope is with them is that we won't recognize that until it is too late. They are literally putting forth the effort already, even though they say, like I brought up the article in the last live where Biden was like, oh, we haven't considered solar geoengineering where we're going to block out the sun's rays, even though it would help the earth to get cooler in just a matter of a couple years. They say they're not considering it, but we supposed to believe that every time we wake up on a sunny day and we see them crisscrossing our skies and stuff. We supposed to believe it. We supposed to believe that's what they're saying, but we can see what they're doing. So, you know, ultimately, only thing that's one thing that's tremendously important as we think about this. Understand first that the one that was that had to be created first was the Blanco woman. She took her position and she took it well because she's in the background acting as if she ain't got nothing to do with this. Matter of fact, she even goes so far as to even throw the Blanco man under the bus, acting like it's him. How many people do you see really bucking the way that the Blanco man does things? It's his woman. Because she wants to act like she's just in the background. It ain't me. It's not me because she understands her time is up. The Blanco man knows it, but the Blanco man's going a lot crazier than the Blanco woman. Notice, I'll give you a fact and you can look this up. This is bar none. This should shake you. You know, not in terms of should affect you, but it should let you know how staggering this is in terms of who's more balanced. The Blanco woman has more balanced energy because you have to know that the X chromosomes contain more genetic material than the Y. All right. The XX chromosomes contain almost about 950 genes, give or take, compared to about 50 and 60 of the Y. That's how much genetic information a woman's DNA has. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And remember what the Blanco said to them you melanated women. He said, y'all at the top of the genetic pool. So that means everybody and everything. You see what I'm saying? So
that's right.
You feel me? So we gotta understand she is a representative of Mother Gaia, of the earth. All right. And we have found ourselves, and I don't care.
Hormones. It's hormones, brother.
Don't y'all see that the white women are built like are thicker, but now the sisters are starting to be built with no. Well, I mean,
yo, that's crazy. He said that.
But yeah, and like you said, they're being replaced, just like the black men, just like, but we're not. Those who know that they're not being replaced. But the black woman understands these things. We see this stuff. We can ignore it all we want to. We can ignore this stuff all we want. We see the commercials in the movies with a black man with a white woman and a black woman with a white man. We see this stuff all the time. How many times you gonna ever see? If you see a black man with a black woman, they got some issues. He a drug dealer, she a prostitute. You seen that in the movie, you know, Who Cloned Tyrone? When you see a black man and a black woman together, it's a dysfunctional relationship.
Every time the culture don't mix, everything don't mix.
Man.
Y'all ain't even the same being.
And you look at TikTok right now. We know this with Kim Kardashian and all of this different stuff. Mm-hmm. We know that they're taking what you want, and the Blanco woman has to do it. The Blanco man can't do it. He likes other men.
That part, brother. First product. Look, bro. Look what he wrote. Facts. The first product. Real talk.
The man can't do it. He like, matter of fact, there's an article that states that the blunt, like I pulled this up on one of my videos. So if you want to go, you got to check out these videos because I think that right now I develop enough credibility to at least paraphrase some of my sources. So the Blanco psychiatrists have said that cuck holding is healthy for the Blanco man. Cuck holding is when he sees another man pummel his wife in front of him. And usually it's a black man that does it.
Oh my bro. Now this is crazy you said that. Do you know I was scrolling through my news feed, and it's a guy that like I'm really into like the homeless people, you know, whatever I can do to help, you know, I try to make sure I look out, you know, regardless. So it's a channel. I can't remember the name of the channel, but I'm subscribed to him. It's like Atlanta Street People or Home People on the Street or something, right? So he interviews people on the street. So it's this one particular young guy that he always follows. I feel real bad for him. You could tell, you know, his mom was in jail. It's a whole bunch of stuff, not to get into, you know, mental issues or whatever. So he follows this young guy. You know, he sees him here and there, whatever. Man, I turned it on one day. It popped up a video of him with the guy. He had the young boy was at a person's house, and they was like, "Yeah, we picked him up," and this, and that. He was like, "Well, why did you pick him up?" And he was like, "Oh, well, she liked him." He looked like she liked him. like, yeah, my wife wanted him, and yeah, said how he came, brought the man to the house, mind you, they all homeless. They not all homeless. The man's homeless, but he met him on a bus, and he brought them to their house. So now he usually is homeless. He told him he brought the man there because the wife wanted him, and they had a interaction. And then he asked him, did he have interaction with him? And he said, yeah, he had interaction. He didn't really like it, but he did it. I'm looking like, is this for real right now? On the YouTube video, bro. And it's crazy you said that. That's the first thing popped in my head. I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, that's what's going on. That's
oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's why we say that you have to understand who's responsible for it. Matter of fact, in the early 1920s, think about how deep this is. In the early 1920s, I think it's called the Staple Act. If they don't, I'm gonna go back and I'll put it in the comment section if I'm wrong. But it was in the early 1920s. This act would pass that even when immigrant women, white women, would come over, as long as there were white women, if you married them white women, you would immediately become a citizen. You see what I'm saying? That's how much power the Blanco woman had. She feigned this idea like she was in some sort of suffrage movement, like that she was being, people, the white man was downing her. And then now you had some cases, right? But if you think about it, if this Blanco man was all about, downing the Blanco woman and all this different shit, he wouldn't have the Blanco woman as the face of his liberty, with the Statue of Liberty, because even though it was marketed supposedly off a black woman, let's just go for how it's taken, because signs and symbols are important in terms of how they're interpreted now, not for how they were seen when they were initiated, right? And then so you also look at the Blanco woman in terms of Queen Elizabeth, all the queens, okay, all throughout European history. And they were supposed to be symbols of Egyptian gods because they took this was the fascination with Egypt. You go back to, like we said, Napoleon in France when they came there and raided Egypt. Britain when it raided Africa, all parts of Africa and stuff like that. And what they took and what they stole, refusing to give back, and all of our stuff is in the British Museum. It's just kind of like this one sister who got a channel. She said, when I go to the British Museum, it's like looking at stolen goods, because that's exactly what you're doing. So, all these things that we have to look at. And we also talked about Sarah Bartman in the last one where we said the fascination with them. They called her the Het Not Venus. Okay. So they understood what position they had to take. The Blanco woman, this is something that's true. She used to wear dresses to mimic the size of the black woman buttocks. She used to put that, you've seen them older movies in the, what I'm saying, when they talk about or romanticize the 17 and the 1800s and Victorian England, where the women walk around looking like they got an ass behind that dress and stuff, and there's nothing there.
They came from the lady. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. So rest in peace. Remember the lady? They had her. They just returned her remains a couple of years ago to her family. They had her in the zoo. Oh my gosh, what's this lady name? The lady with the butt. She was like she was naturally
Sarah Bartman. Sarah Bartman. That's what I'm talking about.
Bartman. Look, I'm thinking the wrong name, but I'm thinking about Sarah. Yes, thank you. Sarah Bartman. Yes, that's crazy. Yes, they modeled it literally after her body shape, brother. The actual dresses. That's crazy.
Yeah, because man, listen, I never miss. I ain't got to miss on these Blancos because they got so much evidence weighted against them. You don't have to make anything up. That's the issue with them, is they know the evidence is so much evidence that will shatter the foundation on which knowledge rests on, which should only encourage a paradigm shift. They know that we're looking at so much evidence against them. That's why they hate this woke movement, right? They don't want you woke. They want you back sleep, and they're going to conflate it with the LGBTQ movement and all that different stuff. But they know exactly who they're targeting. They don't want black people to understand these things, that this is wholesale theft. Right? Not just in your music and your culture, but you and what you have itself. They make their way into your realm. They see how beautiful you got it. They're like, no, fuck this. And in all of this, chaotic thought, the only thing that they can come up with is the fact that I have to do this by any means. So understand this. I was having this conversation with a brother, and I told him, I was like, this is what's so deep, what we got to understand. They're like, okay, well, what's the point? Some people say it's all about money. If it was all about money, then they would have won the game a long time ago. Money is a means to an end. It's not about money. This stuff's been going on before the US dollar was even printed. So when people go, oh, it's all about the money, it's all about the bottom line. No, it's not. It's about a means to an end. And so you have to understand one thing, what makes the Blanco crazy, because I didn't even bring up this fact that I was about to tell you, the statistic that you can look up. One of the number one causes of death by gun is suicide. The number one causes of death by guns is suicides, not homicides. And the vast majority of those suicides are white men. They won't tell you that. The vast majority of those suicides are white men. They have a hard time holding themselves together in this matrix. Blanco women are more successful at doing it. Why? Because they have more energy. Okay? They have more of the energy. All right. And so with that being said, we have to realize that the Blanco man knows that he's already on, as well as the Blanco woman, a suicide mission. Because one, you can't coexist with this planet. Only thing that you can do is create a hospitable environment for yourself, leverage the playing field so that you can have an existence that allows you to live to an old ripe age, if you want to call it that. But that don't come without all them extra problems, though. So the Blanco man and woman has to do everything that they can just to live a good life. But they had to imbalance you in order to do it. All right? So you have to understand that this is what comes about with the geoengineering, the solar geoengineering, what they call it, blocking out the sun rays. Because moonlight, they can survive. I challenge people, if you're familiar with the Matrix movie, when Neo woke up, right, and they were on that ship, and he saw the real world, when he woke up from his pad and he started taking all of those hooks out of himself, you know, those plugs out of himself and pipes leading to his chest and all that different stuff, because essentially he was made into a human battery. What did he look up and see? Nothing. It was darkness. You have to understand the fight between light and darkness literally means the fight between the sun and the moon. Those are the entities that control the day and the light. So you've heard these themes go every time with Blancos, the light versus darkness versus the light. And they've been saying the sun and the moon the whole time. But because you're so used to seeing God and the devil as human representations, that's what you're looking for. And of course, they do some damage, but you have to know why they're doing it. That's what you have to know. And so when you take a look at, like we said, with the moon, when you're dealing with the moon references and stuff, and you know, in contrast to the sun's energy, it's important for them to, like we said, leverage the playing field and show the moon their allegiance. That's who they have an allegiance to, is that moon energy. And in the Matrix, what you're seeing when Keanu Reeves woke up was darkness, which typically refers to the moon has now conquered the sun. That's what it's referred to. And you know what's so deep about that is that, like I said before, you have to understand the dynamics between the eclipses and all of this different stuff, because it's called the shadow work. This is what alchemy is all about, the shadow work. When you have a lunar eclipse, you have the earth standing in between the sun and the moon, and her shadow is cast over the full moon. Her shadow is cast over the full moon. Okay, when you have a solar eclipse, you have the moon in between the earth and the sun. Okay, and the moon is basically casting its shadow on the earth. But of course, we know that you cannot see a total solar eclipse in all parts of the earth, right? It's only in those places where you'll be able to see it, where the moon casts its shadow on the earth. But a lunar eclipse, you can see anywhere that there's nighttime, because the earth supposedly is that much bigger. But I told you in the last video that I dropped, if you take a look at the verse in Genesis chapter 1:16, it said that God created two luminaries, one to rule the day and one to rule the night. So something's got to be wrong when NASA says, oh, the moonlight is based off of the sun hitting the moon and it reflects the sunlight. So, but God said, no, I created two lights, and one was going to rule the day. Now, we know that through transliterations, there's going to be some adulteration of a lot of these key concepts and words, but you should pay attention to what they're trying to symbolically relate to you. They use rule. Rule comes with kings and queens are tied to bloodlines, and bloodlines are tied to plasma, and we have already substantiated, we know why they are here. So if you are living plasma beings, you are a version of yourself, of a watered down version, of the sun, of your central power source. And therefore the sun is allowed to experience life, because you're like, man, wouldn't it suck to be the sun just sitting up there revolving, you know, inside of the dome, you know, just giving light? But no, it creates everything and lives through all its creations. And therefore, one thing that you have to understand, like I said before, now with the logic that they give, imagine now you buy into the logic that the creator said. The creator said, I created two luminaries. Now, and they tell you that when you see a blood moon, When you see a blood moon, that is the Earth blocking. You can go on NASA's website and just look up blood moons, super moons, blue moons, all that different stuff. When you see that, they'll say that light is responsible. The light that the moon has, the red moon, that is, it's from the red light or red waves hitting the moon. That's what accounts for its redness. But imagine if you were to see it in the terms of how God said, I created two luminaries, then what would be making the moon go red? Now you start to look at that luminary different. Now, would you associate red with evil? I don't know. Would you associate, now you're starting to see the menses, the monthly, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, the moon is also connected to lift. Of course. Look at Israel, because we know what's going on. You have to understand these things. It's not like we don't have moon energy in ourselves. We are the perfect balance. We are solar and lunar beings, if you want to call it that. They are just from one energy, one source. They are just from one energy, one source. That's why when you always see movies where there is an end to the world, it's always dark. There is no sun. Notice the theme of all your apocalyptic movies. There is no sun. I don't care if it's a nuclear disaster. I don't care if it's hot. There is no sun. The destruction of the sun or the sacrificing of our sun is like what Bobby Hemmett talked about. This is I think it's called eschatology. Yep. So eschatology is a science of in religion of things that have yet to occur yet. They're for future events. The Blanco will eventually sacrifice our son. That's what they're intending to do. This is why, like I told you before, we pay into a ritual where we use diamonds to commemorate our wedding to our women. That's what the Blanco does, because the end game for the Blanco is to turn your son into a diamond. That means that it is burnt out. Literally, science knows when our sun burns out, they say it's supposed to be billions of years from now, but when it burns out, it would literally be a diamond. It will be a dwarf star. It will turn into a diamond. It would literally be a diamond in the sky. Literally. Okay? So they commemorate the destruction of our sun with a diamond because that is their end game. Now, will they reach their end game? No, of course not, because the crystallogians are waking up. But the point is that you have to understand what the end game is for. End game is all about, and you have to understand what's the energy driving you. All right, that's important, because then you would understand that this war, even though it has something to do with you, it's not all about you. Can I repeat that? Even though it has something to do with you, it's not all about you. It's all about them destroying Mother Earth. That's what it's about, plain and simple. Geoengineering it in order to fit their existence, in order for that they have a hospitable existence. This is what this is all about. And the moon, if you notice, I provided the evidence, so this is not a reach. The darkest part of the shadow is called the umbra. It's called the umbra, brothers and sisters. And you have the penumbra and you have the antumbra. The penumbra is just right, under the umbra or the core part of the shadow. And the antumbra is like the outskirts of the shadow, right? So basically in a full lunar eclipse, or a full solar eclipse rather, the total umbra or the shadow, the full shadow of the moon hits at a certain part of the earth. And the darkest place is in that umbra. Now, this is also, look it up in Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Umbra is also where you get the term umbrella from. So when you take a look at the esoteric messages in Rihanna's song, Under My Umbrella, that was an esoteric song. Matter of fact, in her chorus, she says, when the sun shines, we will shine together. What shines together with the sun? But the new moon. They call it the new moon because the new moon rises and sets with the sun. That's why you can't see the moon on a new moon. It rises and sets with the sun. So this is deep stuff. We have to understand shadow work when it comes to alchemy and stuff. How these people come out from the shadows or the umbras or the umbrellas or the shadow work of these realms to make themselves apparent in the realm of the light. With these solar beings, where we have advantages of both celestial beings. This is one thing that we have to understand. All of this, they communicate through signs and symbols, and we have to understand why they're communicating in such a way. Some people can personify this energy, just like when you get a let's say Joel 2:31 predicts the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon to blood. Yeah, and then if you notice, there's been a lot of preachers that talk about the 4 blood moons. Remind you, Easter was started based off of the first full moon after the 14th day in the month of Nisan. Okay, so we have to understand that this is all the work. Think about this. Matter of fact, I'm finna show you. I think I still got the article up just to show you that I know that I gotta hit you over the head with this sort of stuff, man. I really do. Hold on one second. Let me make sure that this is the article. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, just to show you that these are moon people, brothers and sisters, and that they really are hell-bent on letting you know this, but you got to pay attention to the signs and the symbols. All right, hold on one second. All right, so I'm finna share my screen right quick. Okay. Watch how powerful this is. Okay. This article is called How the Moon Played a Crucial Role During the D-Day Invasion by Ashley Strickland, CNN. Published 6:36 a.m. 6:36. They love their numbers. They love their numbers. Okay, so we're going to go all the way down and read this. Okay. Smith was Eisenhower's chief of staff between 1942 and 1945. After the war, Smith wrote a series of articles for the Saturday Evening Post describing the motivations behind the actions of the Allies during the war. Smith wrote, "For the airborne landings, we needed a late rising full moon so the pilots could approach their objectives in darkness, but have moonlight to pick out the drop zones." We go down further. It says, "In fact, those who planned the invasion had clear requirements: plentiful moonlight over the course of the entire evening and a low tide near sunrise. Given the position of the sun and the moon in relation to the earth, which determines the strength and time of the tide, as well as when that tide would occur on the specific part of the Normandy coast, a full or new moon was required. In order for it to occur during the full moon, the Allies had their pick of June 5th, 6th, or 7th. Oh my, I am killing you niggas, man. Stop the cap. Listen, this is profound. I'm letting you know that these people don't even plan when they even come to wars, they plan it on according to the eclipses and the full moons and the new moons. This is how deep this is. So you better understand all of these things they have on record. You got to look up golden numbers. Golden numbers is a period in between 19 years where the moon's eclipses fall on the same dates. So you know, like you may have in 2013, the moon eclipses, the lunar eclipses were on this date. Then 6 years later, within a 19-year period, they're on the same date 6 years later. Wherever within that 19-year period is called, these are called golden numbers. Did you know that? This is what they plan everything according to the messages that they receive. Look at some of their biggest superheroes. Like, even if you notice, think about this, and y'all gonna trip out when y'all hear this because you've probably seen this and like didn't realize that they communicate through signs and symbols. One of the most notable movies they came out with with their superheroes is what? Batman versus Superman. The sun versus the moon. We already know Batman's icon is the moon. And then you knew when you left that movie, like, that was a horrible fucking movie. But it wasn't intended to entertain you. It was telling you what the war was about. The sun versus the moon. Sister, you with me on this?
I'm definitely with you, brother. I'm right with you.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
exactly.
It's just important stuff. I'm just, you know,
definitely.
The whole thing that we're trying to hone in on is that understand that these rituals, when they talk about full moons, eclipses, new moons, blue moons, now you got to think about the deep symbology. Blue moon, we know that the moon is naturally white and other times.
Right.
You got the red moon, red, white, and blue. This is the flag of the American flag. That's why you got the stars in the flag, and then the red, white, and blue represents the moon. We know they're moon people because they landed on the moon. They talk about the moon. They moon this, moon that. All about the moon, because that's where their energy resides. They only inaugurate their presidents in the moon. You know, when the moon day comes, they don't do no Sundays. We don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So that's one thing that you have to understand. This is critical. You know, so all the energy comes from that source. All right. And so, oh, yeah. And so, you know, the balance has to be restored, because the only way the balance is going to be restored is through us. And then, like the brother had presented the scripture, he talked about, he said, man, people are looking for the end times based on the celestial events. They're looking at the sun and the moon.
Yeah.
They're looking for the sun and the moon. Like I said, that 4 blood moon prophecies, when they talk about 4 blood moons, they're talking about that's when you would know the sign of the end and blah, blah, blah. Because these blancos know that this moon, a celestial body, is emitting its own light. Matter of fact, I presented an article in the last live, talked about 1968 when the Apollo 8 mission occurred. Now think about this. Apollo is the god of the sun in Greek mythology. Why would you have sun missions to the moon? Makes no sense. But see,
to the moon.
Thank you. A sun mission to the moon? This is, see, it's like, you know, that the moon, and then on that mission, guess what the astronauts did? They read the book of Genesis while orbiting the moon.
The genes of Isis. Crazy.
Now, what is a Blanco doing who NASA states that the Earth was created by the Big Bang and that the moonlight reflects off of, you know, the sun? The moonlight is the sun reflecting its light off the moon. So what in the hell is you reading the book of Genesis for while you orbiting the moon?
Exactly. What sense do that damn make? Only to they dumbass. Something that they made up in their head that they think is going to be a ritual that they may think will perpetuate anything that happens against us, but it won't happen.
Exactly, because they continue to keep making sacrifices to the moon. They know the moon,
right.
The moon's balances blood. It does control a woman's menses. That's why they named it that. Look how the Blanco's a fork-tongued devil. I provided an article in my in the show, and I talked about how the Blanco, this neurobiologist and all this shit she calls herself, Blanco scientist, and she says we don't know if menses has anything to do with a woman's menstruation. Then why call it menses, bitch? It's named after the moon. If it don't got nothing to do with the moon, why would you name it menses?
Exactly, directly connected, and it definitely does. It plays a huge part because it is what it weighs the water. The moon weighs all waters, the tides of the water, not only the womb, but all tides of the water.
And as any entity can become, it can be manipulated and it can be strung along by adoration.
That's right.
By adoration. And so the moon has said, why can't I be like the sun? I have a lot of control. Why do I gotta always live in the shadows? So you have, this is deep shit.
Yes. Oh, jealous ass. That negative ass energy. Stay away from this old positive, perfect sun.
I'm trying to tell you, it's
golden light. Come on.
Isn't this always the motifs of myths? Some brother is jealous of another brother, or some king jealous of his brother. This is what's always telling you myths. But since they put human characters in there, you lose sight of what's going on. Because the reality of it is, if humans was to take a step down off their arrogant ass pedal, if something happened to the moon and sun, it's over with for everybody. Anything can happen to other humans, the world keeps pushing. But if something never happens to that moon and something never happens to that sun, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap for everybody. I don't care about you. Grab your Bibles, grab your Qurans. It's a wrap.
Right.
It's a wrap for every. You can start calling on this and that and the other, but if something happened to those two luminaries that rules the day and rules the night, it's over with for everybody.
Yeah.
It's over with for every. So you
I don't know, bro. Maybe if we was able to knock that damn moon out, it might make a big change in a positive way for us. I don't know about our sun. Yeah, that moon. I don't know. That might be something I'd be willing to check out.
The moon. That's what I'm saying. We gotta continue to keep doing our research because this is an ongoing investigation, right?
Yes.
We don't have everything on us, but we have the template. We have a strong foundation. We understand that when we take off the anthropomorphic idealism, the idea is that man, moon, and sun is represented by human deities. When we take that away and we just got the sun and the moon, we come a lot closer. He said, I'm trying to read some of it. Here became Hercules, becoming Hercules. Oh, yeah, the changing up of the names. Even in different certain cultures, you got, remember where Abraham came from. Abraham came from the land of Ur, right? Ur celebrated the moon goddess Inanna. So we got during, Sumerian and Akkadian mythology, the moon had more power than the sun.
Right.
The Sumerians and Akkadians believed they worshiped the moon. The moon goddess was the head of the pantheon. This is deep shit. So, this is where we're supposed to, understand these two gods are, and the sun doesn't have to fight. Obviously, the sun is who the sun is, but They are definitely at war. It's I don't know how we would like to articulate them, because this articulation of their relationship has changed throughout history, depending on what myths you look at. The Mayans and the Incas had different interpretations of the moon. The Mayans said it was the moon goddess who basically fought the sun every night. That's what caused the sun to set. We know about the Egyptian mythology. You know what I'm saying? Where
real quick, brother, do you know what she mean? What she means? She said the men is, what is the men? Do you know what the men is? The men is supposed to be a natural satellite.
The men, I would have to. I've never heard that term before.
Elaborate, sister. I'm curious because I haven't heard it either. I'm sorry, brother, interrupt you. Go ahead.
Go ahead. That's what this is about.
Yeah, I want to see what she was saying. Natural satellite. Oh, did you mean to say the Mayan, sis? It's Mayan. Is that what you're saying? Just to clarify. Maybe that's what she's talking about, the Mayan, because they have those abilities or what have you. Maybe that's what she meant. Okay, she put in the chat. Go ahead, brother. What you were saying? I think that's probably what she meant.
What was she intending? Because I would be interested.
Oh, you like me? I'm sitting there. I ain't want to hold you up.
My mind is always interested in, hey, look, sure. I be trying to figure. I'm always hungry for knowledge.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get back down to the bottom now. Let's see. She said the moon is she said the moon. She said, oh yeah, the moon is known as a satellite.
Oh yeah, the moon is
the moon. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because ultimately we know, if to me, I'm gonna go with the Most High. We know that. Listen, we're dealing with esoteric thought inside of manuscripts called the Bible and the Quran and all that different stuff. But we gotta pay attention that they hitting a lot of this stuff in plain sight. I believe this is the dome. We know they ain't never went in outer space. If there is outer space, I just know the Blanco went. I don't give them that.
Okay.
I can't give them that credit. You see what I'm saying?
They burnt the hell up trying to get through any damn firmament. Stop playing with us.
Right. Just even the radiation alone in the ionosphere. They know this shit, man. They know this shit. But the point that I would make, okay, when you take a look at the biblical narrative, we know that these are two celestial beings to rule. Rulership means you know what it means, right? How do you rule something? Okay, it's not this passive existence that we attach to the sun and the moon, just like that. Oh, it's nighttime, the moon is out. Oh, it's daytime, the sun is. And the sun and all its greatness and the moon and all its greatness is doing exactly what it does, right? Something beautiful, something cosmic, something celestial. And yet we marginalize their existence. But if something were to ever happen, like I said, in terms of the moon or the sun, and we started to see irregularities or anomalies in the sky, we would be like, oh my goodness, what the heck is that all about? You see what I'm saying? What the heck is that all about, right? Now,
is this distracting, brother? Why are you talking about? I definitely want to show some moon portals.
No, what I was going to encourage you to do is they got these videos that I didn't get an opportunity because they cut my live. Of course, OBS crashed again, as they always seem to do. Conveniently enough on my channel, it consistently crashes. But no, what I was finna do was I was finna show like these the holographic videos and stuff. So I was gonna let you show that right quick. I was finna show this.
Okay, I'm gonna breeze through these. I want you to see some of these, what I call moon, the portals, brother. I got pictures of the moon. It was laying down like literally flat. It was like you say, you know how you see the moon, and it's like you can see the crescent or the full moon or whatever, right? The moon, it was like it just fell over. It was like it fell over like it was on the stage and shit. The shit just fell over. I went outside. My son actually called me. He was like, "Mom, did you see the moon?" I'm like, "What you mean?" He said, "Mom, it's laying down." I'm like, "What you mean laying down?" Man, I went outside. I couldn't believe it. It looked crazy. But you see this. These are portals. I be catching them all the time, brother. This should be looking crazy, but it be all kind of beings and everything coming around trying to see what's going on. But yeah, I'm gonna show you a couple more. Look at this one. Nobody can't tell me these ain't portals. Wait a minute. Let me get to a couple of other ones. Craziness. Even this, hold on, let me zoom in on this one so you can see even the shape. You can see it's opening. It's not even like a regular circle, bro. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see it. It's like it's some kind of space station portal. I don't know what the hell be going on, but that shit ain't real and it's not natural. I don't believe that's part of what was made natural. I'm just gonna say that. It's too weird and too freakish for me. I see too many things with this moon. Look at this. Look at all these things that was floating around. Let me not get into that conversation. I'm sorry, brother. But yeah, look at them. Just look. It's like in some of them, I don't want to show too many because I want you to keep going on what you're saying. But this one right here, it literally looks like you could just walk through the shit. I don't know if you can see it or if it looks like that to you, but it be these type of pictures with these moons. I be catching some weird stuff. Oh damn, the brother dropped off. I couldn't see because I was changing the pictures, brother.
Oh, no doubt,
but yeah, brother, do you see these pictures? Like literally, they look like portals. Some of them you can like literally walk through. It seems like it's crazy.
Now, is this the moon?
Yeah, that's the moon, brother.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And so what you had seen was from this part where you seen just a little bit of it cut off. Okay. So you have 8 phases of the moon, right? And then so when you have this will be considered almost a full moon, or if not called the waxing gibbous. You know, so basically when you see a little bit of light or the crescent moon, that's called the waxing crescent. Waxing means that the light is getting bigger. All right. Then you have the first quarter, that's like the half moon. Okay, then you have the waxing gibbous, which is like 3/4 of the moon being full. Then you have the full moon. All right, and then after the full moon, so basically how they time things is from a new moon to a full moon. All right, for the supposedly according to NASA science or Blanco science, one revolution of the moon around the sun is 27 days. All right, but one full transition from the new moon to the full moon takes 29 days. All right. So if you notice, we still have technically a lunar solar calendar. Why? Because 12 months or months is named after the moon.
Right.
That's where months come from. It's named after the moon. So when they see 12 full moons, that equals 12 months or 12 times that the moon has traveled around the earth, therefore giving them an indication that that's how long it took the earth to travel around the sun.
You know how they always talk about the fabrics of Earth or some the fabrics, some type of fabrics they be saying when they're talking about things. Do you see this around this? Do you see all of that? Do you see that all these like fibers? I don't know what the hell this is, but all this stuff around there. Do you see this, brother, or can you not see it?
Yeah,
is that what that is?
What you're seeing is a glow or emitting light. Now, this is what's so hard. It's called the luminescence or the luminance, right? Or the aura coming from the moon and from the
aura.
Earth. All has its aura, right? Like that's the sun has its aura or halo is what we like to call it. Now, the crazy part about this is that the Blanco wants to say that this is the light reflecting off of the sun from the moon. Like the moon is not emitting its own light. We have to somehow either believe what they're saying or believe our own eyes. Because if you're going to believe what the Blanco's saying with his history, with his track record, I don't know how you can do that. He's the father of the lie. She is the father of the mother of the lie. So how can we believe them when everything else, all the other stories and all our evidence, especially our empirical evidence, which is evidence that we have attained from our life experience, have shown us that this entity looks, for all intents and purposes, to be emitting its own light. And the Bible backs us up and says that our esoteric knowledge, because we know that the Bible was taken from our esoteric knowledge. So our esoteric knowledge states that these are two luminaries, one that rules the day and one that rules the night. That's what these are. And like I told you, I recommend the movie Captain Marvel because they let you know that through jumping through time wormholes or what we call teleportation, she landed on the moon. Okay.
And you see this one, brother, this look like an egg almost. This one is like, this is like an oval shape.
Exactly. Because that's why it's associated with Easter. That's why it's associated with a woman. You
see, this is one of the ones I was saying. It looked like you could just walk right. This looked like the water, and then you could just like walk right on through it, go on through the portal. I mean, this looks like a tunnel to me. I don't know if I'm tripping or what, but that's what it looked like to me. A whole tunnel.
Listen, because they say that the moon shows us the same face. The moon shows us the same face all the time. It doesn't spin on an axis. Although what Blanco say, so if you go back to that last picture you just showed, go back to this last picture.
You know what's crazy with this? The camera kept trying not to get these pictures because it was getting these pictures because I always be getting the real picture. The camera kept reflecting, trying to make it look like this damn CGI picture. I swear, these are straight flicks. Every picture I'm showing you is right in a row. This is how it was flicking, and it kept flicking, switching between the fake picture. This is the fake picture. It went to the rear picture. And it was doing it again. And you see, it was because it was opening. The portal was opening. And it was bro, you might think this sounds crazy, but I'm telling you what my spirit showed me this whole damn time.
Listen. Remember what I said you go about when you come to the moon. The moon, first of all, if they come to the conclusion, even if we believe in the Bible, which we know, that the esoteric language is true, and we know that, then we know that they could have not have possibly landed on the light. That's just what they could have not done. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
So
right.
we ain't really got it. But the thing is, when you're dealing with, even like you talk about the full moons, like when you had, do you know the last time? So basically, when you have 2 full moons in a month, when you have 2 full moons in a month, they call that a blue moon. That's why you ever heard the phrase, oh, it happens every blue moon. But blue moons do occur sometime around every 2 to 3 years. Okay, so now there was a couple times when the moon actually turned blue. It was in 1883 with the eruption of the volcano called Krakatoa in Indonesia. You know what I'm saying? And then you also had in 1980 with the eruption of Mount St. Helens. Why is this all significant? Because remember, the craters in the moon supposedly were caused by a volcanic eruption. The craters in the moon were also caused by a volcanic eruption. So that's why you see them 2 holes. Now, if you look at that picture enough, sometimes people say they see the man in the moon, and that's when I recommended the movie called The Rise of the Guardians. This is a Disney movie. No, it's by DreamWorks. The Rise of the Guardians. You have Jack Frost, which is made by the moon. He dies and has his power given to him by the man in the moon. Santa Claus works at night. He's a moon character. He works at night. He don't work during the day. You see what I'm saying? It's a moon character. The Tooth Fairy, also a moon character. The Sandman, also a moon character, work at night. And you know what I'm saying? And so I forget what the other one was. So the 5 of them come together to save children from something called pitch black. This is deep shit. And guess who they're taking orders from? The man in the moon. You can't make this shit up. You have to see that movie. It's called The Rise of the Guardians.
Oh my gosh, brother. It's some movie that came out last year or the year before last. People kept telling me about it, and I never seen it. Dang it. It was like an animated, something about the moon. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was talking about that.
Oh, yeah. It's because that's what, like the current movie, like I said, Captain Marvel is about, it's going to show you that. If you look at Transformers, the dark side of the moon, they letting you know what they are, and what we are simultaneously by letting you know what they are, right? But we're more about balance. I wouldn't say, like I told people, I wouldn't get presumptuous and to assume that, we're strictly solar beings, because we're not. Our women, which are at the height of genetic energy, if you want to call it, or in terms of, or define it in terms of European terms, then that may be the case. But we know in terms of the energy that they possess, this has nothing to do with people trying to run around talking about, oh, the black woman God, because we know not everybody lives up to their potential. You can see that in sports. Somebody might be drafted, oh, this guy is number 1, he runs a 4.340, but ends up being trash in the NFL and the NBA. Don't mean that you're going to live up to your potential. We're talking about the potential energy that our people carry. And as you've seen in that video that I showed, it does not matter if you know about your energy or power or not. They're still going to take it. They're not going to be like, oh, these black women and black men don't know about, how powerful they are. Let's give them a break. No. Matter of fact, the dumber and more ignorant you are, the better. The dumber and more ignorant you are, the better. You see what I'm saying? So these are these
talking about real quick, brother. She's talking about indigenous woman. There is a story, not a fake story, supposedly the true story, where they found I think you're talking about the Black Madonna, they called her, and they found her. They had spaceships, like these aliens were buried with her or something. I think that's what you're talking about. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother.
Oh, no, that's all good points. And I think one brother had said that was Islam a lunar religion? Yeah, it goes by the lunar calendar. So much so does the so-called Jews. They go by the lunar calendar. You see the Asians, they go by lunar. All of these other entities that you will recognize that so-called rule the earth, they go by lunar calendars. They're moon people. If you notice, think about it. If Russia wanted to really one up the United States, they could blow this whole shit open and tell us that the United States never went to the moon. But they're not going to do that, because they're moon people too. They're not going to do that. That's everybody right. Is in on the lie. Everybody is in on the lie. You have to understand, these are celestial beings. You see what I'm saying? These are celestial beings. We measure our time by the moon and the sun. We measure our life by the moon and the sun. We say grand rising to each other. We talk about happy solar return. You had a son, and we know that these spells and how they work. You know what I'm saying? We could say S-O-N, but we know it's really S-U-N. You know what I'm saying? And so the
S-O-L, like us, the real soul.
Right, or have a soul, because that's Roman. Romans use soul for son, but we know that they had to attach the U in there to let us know exactly what they was talking about, because they're not born with the soul or the sun inside them. They're like an empty vessel for the most part. There is some melanin content, but just enough for them in order to entertain this realm. You see what I'm saying? And so, yeah, that's all of this stuff is very profound. It's very profound because, you know, you got say I got that news you have on your fingertips. Yep. Yeah, it's say also the Death Star was the moon and star. Well, oh, I had no idea about that. Corey Collier says also the Death Star was the moon and star. I wouldn't doubt it. And then just the idea of Star Wars. Listen, Corey, the idea of the title Star Wars, the moon and the sun are considered stars. They still consider celestial bodies. They're still considered stars. You see what I'm saying?
And Star Wars is the war against the stars. And who is the star? We are literally the energy light being. So that's like the war against you. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Joe states that there is a man, the face on the moon. Yeah, that's what they call the man in the moon. That's what they call the man in the moon reference. You see what I'm saying? And also, the most people see a rabbit. That's when you have the Chinese in their calendar. They see a rabbit with the moon. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, all of them are in deep cahoots with each other because the climate, like she said, y'all Sabrina got it right. The climate deal means conspiracy. They're conspiring with one another. I had the article and I showed you that they are running around here with each other. And man, do I still got this article up? No, I don't.
I know that's right, MJ. Look what he said. He said, brother. He said Michael Jackson strong ties.
Listen. Do you know if you go look back? If you go look back at the Thriller video, right?
Ooh.
The Thriller video, right before it starts, Michael Jackson tries to put out a disclaimer, says, "I'm not a part of the occult." Because you know his family grew up Jehovah's Witnesses. He said he wanted to. I'm not part of the occult anyway because he knew he was doing occult stuff. So what was he talking about? Under the moon, the darkness, and that's what we talk. It's dark. It's a.
And remember the time, brother.
Yeah.
The remember the time. Oh my gosh, that has so much symbolism in it with the Egyptian. Oh man, that was a deep one.
Yeah, see, when he started going back and showing you the balance that he had, they didn't like that. When he did straight moon work, they was all on that. The moonwalk, all this idea, because what you seeing basically what it was representative or symbolic was an illusion. He's walking backwards, but it looked like he's walking straight. That's an illusion. So
magic.
That's why you got to understand the symbolism, right? Like the moon. For what they created this illusion, like they've been there. Oh, you know, we landed on the moon. One giant step for man, even giant step for mankind. I don't know what the hell. One giant leap, whatever the hell these crackers was talking about. But they let you know that this is what it's really all about. You know what I'm saying? That was what they wanted to get you the idea of, or inform you about, was that they are straight moon beings through and through. That's the energy that they've tapped into. They can have a little bit of the sun, but you know they die trying to get a little bit of the sun energy, and they fiend for it. They go out tanning. They got tanning rooms. Them blancos be out trying to get a little bit of that color or light, as they say. Can't get it, and they become infuriated because they know it's what keeps us balanced. Black people wonder why we wasn't in this situation we're in right now. We're such a balanced people. We love to have a good time. We love to, connect with family. We love to connect with Mother Earth, and it just comes natural to us. And all of the writings, when Europeans came into contact with indigenous people, they all said the same thing. These are kind, peaceful people. They had no other reason to be. They had no other reason to be otherwise. You see what I'm saying? And any power we had, we knew that we contained a considerable amount of power when we understood that our shamans and our warriors were tapped into Mother Earth and tapped into the celestial realms. With that type of power, they were unstoppable. But it's this one dude who comes to my chat all the time to bother my chat. And he had, as I was going over this information, he said, well, Y'all know all this, and we did all of this, and we sold this and that and the other. How did we take y'all over? Blanco by disease. The same way, if you don't reinvent the wheel, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You think I buy into that narrative like y'all came up here with big guns and all of this different stuff? No, not at all. Y'all came up here with disease, and then you've conditioned us to accept disease, whether it's been polio, AIDS, COVID, the 19, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You get us used to accepting disease because that's how you came. You see what I'm saying? And you have to understand that. You know what I mean? So
real quick, brother, this is one picture I just wanted to show. You said something about the face in the moon. It reminded me of this. This is a screenshot. One day I was on the balcony with my daughter and her friend, and this is a picture they took. It was actually a little video because it was like the moon was like blinking. It kept blinking. I'm like, what the hell? So I called them out there. I'm like, am I tripping? Like the moon's blinking, So he took the pictures, and this was one of the pictures. It's literally a face in there. I tried to zoom it in as much as I can, but I don't know if you can really see it.
Yeah, this is what kind of like would be the eyes and the nose and the mouth.
Oh, there it is.
Sometimes people see a rabbit. This could be the rabbit's head and the rabbit body. So sometimes the rabbit's in the moon or the man's in the moon. This is why the rabbit is associated with the moon and the Easter and all of this different stuff. Okay, you see what I'm saying? But then that's why they make the rabbit white for Easter to represent the white population, Anglo-Saxon goddess. You see what I'm saying? Of the moon and representing fertility. But we know that that's obviously a falsehood. But it doesn't matter. They have control over iconography. They have control over their image. And unfortunately, they have control over ours too as well. And that's the problem. That's what we're dealing with. This is how an invention became an invasion. You see what I'm saying? So eventually what we're going to have to understand is, okay, we say, we know all of these things. How does this help us? Because this is when it gets practical. How does this help us? Well, first, it helps us by letting us know what direction to move in. Okay? Understanding that, okay, now that I know, because have you noticed, real talk, and I'm not trying to, like I said, I'm not here to disrespect anybody's beliefs or anything like that. But if you are giving your essence to gods that are not answering you, is it any wonder why you're not being answered? Why are you so afraid to look at the very sun whose light is so radiant that, mind you, like the Bible says, you can't even look at it? Isn't that the same thing with the sun at its height? You can't stare at the sun. You can only eat when sunrise and sunset. And if you happen to stare at the sun at its height, you have to close your eyelids, or you will, no matter how much melanin in your eyes, you will get sun damage. You cannot stare at the sun. Okay? You cannot stare at the sun. So the thing that we got to understand is that what I do, I know what is a celestial being. I give credit to both. I acknowledge the moon and I acknowledge the sun. I give them credit for what they've been able to accomplish. Anything that has been there since time immemorial and sits in the sky and illuminates itself, you're dealing with something that's badass. I don't care what you want to talk about. If you can give a human being credit for dribbling a basketball and jumping from the free throw line like he's a god, you can't do that with the sun and it creates shit. You can't do that with the moon and it controls the tides. You need to stop playing with yourself. You need to stop playing with yourself and understand that it's all about balance of energy. How do we know this? Look at the human body. So many people get caught up into thinking about, oh, a man is this, he's testosterone, a woman is estrogen. No, men and women produce both. A man produces testosterone as well as he produces estrogen. Obviously not as much, but he produces both hormones. A woman produces testosterone as much as as well as she produces estrogen. So you have to understand that it is the balance of your hormones. Therefore, if you incur a hormonal imbalance, you're out of whack. Your body needs to be rebalanced. And then you see a lot of people who have undergone these transitions, they have to continuously undergo what's called hormone therapy in order to maintain balance. So either way you cut, slice, and dice it, whether it's artificially induced or you're trying to maintain your balance naturally, you must ensure that whatever you take in is encouraging that hormonal balance. Otherwise, your life is out of whack. Same thing with the celestial beings. They contain both energy, but one is more pronounced than the other in their celestial state. But they still have to be balanced. And what has happened is through all of their creation, through the manipulation of the crystals and things like that, you have beings that are in power. all right, that are fighting for the existence of one over the other. And unfortunately, what will happen is, which I don't think will happen, but this is the game plan, is that they will try to usurp the power of the sun by elevating the moon in its place. Because that's what darkness is. If you do something to the sun, the moon will still be here. But in what in what state? But at what state? You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand it is the balance of these powers that will allow for balance on the earth. Any imbalance to speak about comes from them. When there is time of peace, you understand that the moon and the sun are venerated equally. When there was times of peace in civilizations, they venerated the moon and the sun. Anytime that humanity has war, it's always a war between these two celestial giants. That's just how it is. And when we simplify that, then we can go about acquiring the power we need. When we start looking at the sun and sun gazing, eating the right fruits, think about how powerful those fruits are. They spend months in the sun. Those plants spend months in the sun making those oranges, those apples, those pears. But yet you so conned by the Blanco to where you could just go into his grocery stores and pick this shit out of season. So you don't see the power in these foods. You don't see the power in these foods. These plants take months to put this energy together in these foods. All right? Yeah, DJ ZPE says it's all astrology, all of it, everything. Yes, it is. That's all it is. That's all it has been. You know, we talk about these signs and everything like that. Yeah, the Star Wars technology and all. Yeah, this is all that it is, brothers and sisters. This is all that it is. So it's extremely important for us to know why the war is being, who's waging the war, why the war is being waged. Who's waging the war, why the war is being waged. All right. So ultimately, this is not fair, but this is our existence. I want to repeat this. This is not fair, but this is our existence. We live in a war realm. So you're picking a side either way, even if you don't want to. You're picking a side either way. This is a war realm. You are going to be forced to pick sides. But how can you pick a side if you don't know who the sides are? Therefore, people can get you confused. Mind you, I'll tell you, I rock with anybody who rock with nature and their balance. Therefore, a Blanco scientist can actually become a real scientist when they are an advocate for Mother Nature. But as long as that Blanco scientists and even Negroes, just because you got melanin skin and you run around preaching that Blanco bullshit, I'm not with you. Because you're warring on the wrong or for the wrong side. Okay? That's how you carve motherfuckers up. Because we already know this war is so sophisticated, it's not advantageous for us to jump behind anybody who got melanin. That's what you can't do. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that, like, this is a concerted effort put forth by individuals who are now feel like they need to usurp power. They have been created by our people, but yet, as we told you about the myths and the motifs in myths, which is that the creation soon tried to kill their gods. The creation still try to okay, so I'm trying to read some of these comments. It says Pluto is a higher octave of the moon frequency wise. Sound dark deadly Pluto is. Certain planets, remind you what's special about the sun and the moon is that they move in different they have different movements. You see what I'm saying? These other stars, they stay in fixed locations. They stay in fixed locations. You see what I'm saying? That's why you can always tend to rely on the fact that you can follow a particular star, hence the North Star. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So, but these celestial bodies, they can change it up. You might have, now mind you, you had 13 full moons in the year of 2020. What happened in 2020? The shutdown. See, they don't never do nothing without the approval of their master. That's one thing that you have to know. They don't do nothing without the approval of their master. And you know, the next time 13 full moons will be coming up again is in the year 2029. That's why I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, at the very most, You got till 2029. And I'm not one who always makes predictions, but the science is sound because I know who they follow. I don't have to be some sage and be like, oh, hey, he's a prophet. No, just follow who they follow. They follow the moon religiously, literally. They follow the moon religiously, literally. Okay? So when they hit that 13th full moon, which it won't be another one to occur till 2029. By the time 2029 comes, they feel like they should have everything wrapped up, locked, and loaded because they're setting the stage for all of this stuff that they're doing right now. They desperately want us to participate in their rituals with what's kicking off with Israel and Palestine and all of these different things. All of these things they want your input in because they need you to participate in the ritual. Because the quirk of it is if they can get the sun to believe that his army, that they will turn their back on the sun, on the Most High, then the moon will gather and gain more power. Because just like in the movie, The Rise of the Guardians, they let you know that the stronger the God becomes is a part of the belief you have in the God. The stronger the God becomes, deal with the belief you have in the God. That's why when the children stopped believing in the tooth fairy and when the children stopped believing in one of the guardians, they started to disappear. They started to disappear. Okay? So when we buy fully into the artificial matrix, notice how as Black people buy more into the artificial matrix, the worse the earth becomes. Notice how Black people, as we buy more into the artificial matrix, the worse this earth becomes. Oh, see, Coppertone says, okay, I understand. That's why they're so big on this 2030. Yeah, because it's right next to 2029. Yes, it is. Right back to 2029 with their 13 full moons. We're not power zooming in space till we see the same stuff. Man, listen, I tell people all the time, if you begin to, that's why you got a lot of people that call themselves astrophysicists, but astronomers and all this different stuff. They let you know why they follow the stars so closely. You see what I'm saying? And it's not something that we got to be adept at, but it's definitely worth something paying attention to. Said Israel, Isis, Rael, meaning God, Egyptian technology. They stole. Remember the movie Angelina Jolie? Oh yeah, Tomb Raider. Oh, of course. But we know that they did that. Remember, the French have a monopoly on Egyptology, right? That's Napoleon. When he went there, he stole all of the, most of the information that was left. Okay, and then they gave it to what their grand experiment was the United States. That's why they gave them the Statue of Liberty. You know what I'm saying? That's extremely important for us to understand. The French were behind a lot of this, but when we say French, German, the Dutch, all this was a concerted movement on the part of the moon people to establish this energy. You see what I'm saying? And all they had to do was get us to believe in it. Think about this, brothers and sisters. Ain't that why Christianity is so powerful? Because they got you to believe in it. You're literally bringing something into reality. That's how powerful they know your belief system is. Don't nobody believe like no Black woman. I don't care what
manifestation, brother, huh? They manifesting that
energy.
Uh-huh.
Our energy. Because if you look at it, a man can say anything you want about a woman, but everybody knows the most spiritual person on this earth is a Black woman. We talk about a Black man being a preacher, but we know that the vast majority of his flock is women. It was Big Mama who dragged you to church or Kingdom Hall and all that different stuff. You see what I'm saying? Because we have to understand that this is predominantly a Christian nation. Yeah, there's other religions and stuff like that, but nothing gets more credence, nothing gets more shine than Christianity. Okay? So when our women get involved in it, it's really powerful because then what are you doing? They're also offering up their moon blood. They're also offering, so within the practice of the Most High, or adorating or giving adoration to the Most High, it's also a powerful moon aspect that our sisters are giving away, which is making the moon more powerful. Now, like we said before, is that it's about us achieving balance on this so-called planet. It's not about us eradicating the moon as it is. And some people say it's a satellite. Some people say it's an illusion. You got a lot of theories out there. But the reality of it is regardless of how you cut, slice, and dice it, it shows you that it participates in celestial events through the nature of an eclipse. Regardless of how you cut, slice, and dice it. You see what I'm saying? And a lot of things happen during these eclipses. Moons still, regardless if you feel like they're real or not, the full moon at certain parts of the season gives us a strong indication that there is, spring approaching. All right. So that was what the harvest of the full. See how even when we went on subjects that seem to not even relate, how they relate, because the killers of the flower moon was just that. Remember, we said that the almanac had described it from the indigenous. The indigenous said that the flower moon was the moon that gave them an indication that stuff would start to bloom. Okay, so once again, something that you thought we were just talking about with Tulsa and all this relates right back to this esoteric shit. You see what I'm saying? So this is just deep stuff, man. It really is deep. And like Sabrina said, energy vampires powers the weapons like they showed. Yeah, of course. That's exactly what they are. You see what I'm saying? And if you notice, a lot of people who got esoteric stuff in mind, you have some people who just on astrology, you got some people who deep off into religion and all this different stuff. But it's sad that when you peer into people's religion, all of the astrology is there. The stars, the sun, the moon, the sun being blocked out. How is they going to talk about the end time for you to look at these suns and stars, the suns and the moon, and you're not looking at them now? You're just supposed to wait to the end to look at them? You're just supposed to wait to the end to observe them? This is ridiculous shit. You see what I'm saying? And so when we running around talking about these things, we got to understand where the energy is tied into. You see what I mean? This is real deep energy. You look out sometimes when you got a clear night sky, you may not think that you got time for it. Go out there and look at the stars. There's apps that you can get to show you the constellations as you point your phone at the stars. Okay? Get in tune with the moon. Look up sometimes, because it may just prove the difference between you being illuminated and you not, because there's certain messages that are always being sent by these powerful beings. Get that, brothers. There's certain powerful messages being sent by these powerful beings. That's why when you get these people come out there, when it's full moons and stuff, they getting water, trapping the moonlight in the water, putting crystals in it, and they doing the whole nine. They doing the whole nine. So you better believe them crystals, them selenite or moon crystals, that the sister showed y'all with the documentary and stuff that they use as a copyright infringement, to take the video down. You better believe those probably were made by moon energy or whatever, or Earth's energy. Regardless, they call them moon crystals.
Yeah. Okay.
And they're letting you know that it's certain crystals that like they said could have been formed by the moon. Then they talk about, it's kind of myth, but you still calling them that though. If it's myth or if it has nothing to do with it, change the damn name, Blanco. But you won't do that because you know that you have to tell the truth within this lie because you fork tongue. That's what you have to do. You know what I'm saying? Original Skywalker said, when the sun ain't shining, it's born. Not only that, when the sun ain't shining, you feel bad. Horrible. You want to be around the sun. You see what I'm saying? Not to mention, but we have to understand our duality, because just like what happens when we're no longer around the sun, what happens? Then the pineal gland gets a signal to start secreting something called melatonin. All right? Which travels down, this message comes down what they call the charismatic nuclei. All right? Yep. And I think it's super chiasmatic nuclei. Well, whatever the case, it's this band of nuclei or nerves where this signal travels down, right? And then obviously, ignites the body into understanding what? That it is time to go to sleep. And I'm going to secrete this powerful melatonin to act on your sexual gonads. If you're a woman, your ovaries. If you're a male, your testes. Okay? And we're going to go into the dream world where you spend half your life. Now, isn't it strange that people in religion, I need to get this out. People in religion talk about life. They talk about life and they never mention dreams. Literally, you spend half your life there. Nobody wants to talk about dreams. How am I going to spend half my life somewhere? Nobody wants to talk about it. But the Bible talks about it. Bible talks about how a lot of these patriarchs, the Most High, communicated through the dreams.
That's right.
And we supposed to believe them? And how many people can see your dream but you?
Lord of mercy. And then when you think about it on that moon, brother, so you think about the moon, right? And the secretion that it creates when you're down and gloomy when the sun's not out, right? Because you're not getting that that natural sun coming in and elevating you and enlightening your plasma and bringing that golden out, right? So think about if the moon wasn't here, right? And you were always like receiving that glow, receiving that energy, we would be consistently enlightened and our crystallization would be to its maximum. We would become like totally crystallized if we didn't have that negatively affecting us. That's just my thinking, but go ahead, brother.
Oh, but there are certain areas like we know about Alaska, shoot, where they say the sun never sets. It's what, 6 months of lightness, 6 months of darkness. So it's areas in the world where that's.
But how is that though? Let's tap on that real quick, brother. I'm sorry. Now, how is that? Somebody posed this to me before. The sun is out in certain areas, right? Like you said, not only Alaska, it's other areas too. New Zealand, I think it's like 4 places, if I'm not mistaken. It's out for like a certain amount of time. It's consistently shining, like you said, and then it's dark the other time. But supposedly it's one sun, right? But why is it with this one sun that they're having this experience, but the rest of the world is not?
Right, because
that makes sense.
Yeah, you would have to. That's 2 different modes of thought, 2 different schools of thought. One is the sun is setting and rising, which means that the earth is turning on this ball, and it's only one hip. Certain parts of the earth being shown sunlight, and other parts not. And then you got those who believe in the dome, whereas the sun is rotating inside the dome. So whereas if you're still in that circumference of the sun's rotation, you will still see the sun. You see what I'm saying? But it depends on what school of thought you're coming from. And also, if there's another school of thought that, in some instances, there are more than one sun. There's myths around that. But see how we have to delve into the myths. We have to delve into the science. We have to delve into religions just to get closer to the truth. But one thing we do know with these celestial bodies, they are, in many, just to boil it down, they are fighting for dominance. And I hate to use the word dominance because it's too strong, but you as a being have to understand what's your relationship to these celestial beings, right? Because certain animals, they if you notice, they thrive off of the sun not being around. They're called nocturnal animals. Okay? They're nocturnal. They do most of they sleep during the day, they come out in the night. I don't fuck with the sun. I don't fuck with it. I'll be out at nighttime.
This part right here, brother. And there's nothing perverted about sexuality, brother. Just depends on your mind and what you're thinking about it. So nothing you saying is perverted. Don't feel that way. But yeah, brother, when with what he said, look at that. That is the truth, right? The rising of the sun.
Oh yeah.
The rising.
Exactly, because that's also that's a part of, and then that happens for both men and women too as well. This is when you get into what's called nocturnal emissions, or what we call wet dreams. The scientific term for it is called nocturnal emissions. You see what I'm saying? So we had times where most people can have, remember their dreams. You might have been approached, or you might have had sex with an entity. This happens to a lot of prepubescent or pubescent boys. You know what I'm saying, in their early years and stuff. Until they actually have sex in this realm, then they kind of slow down. But for some people, it doesn't. They have these nocturnal emissions all the time. So like I told, that even pulls.
They meet up in spirit. Brother, they can meet in spirit, literally like couples in distance, right? And literally have that experience together in an inner world between them these two. It's literally a spiritual connection, like literally.
Yes, it is, because it's us understanding that the light body is connected to the source all around us. Just like I tell people all the time, there is enough light in the room that you're standing in right now to power a whole neighborhood. That's how much electricity or radiation is around us at all times. At all times. You see what I'm saying? So this string theory has some plausibility. Because it's just showing you that the energy that you're around is always connected, and we got to stop. A lot of our elders used to talk about, this physical body. Well, it's only physical in a sense, at a certain level, because we've already talked about how scientists have told you that the primary function of the skin is to absorb light. That's its primary responsibility. That's why it's your largest organ, because its primary responsibility is to absorb light. And so this is why you see in our cultures, a lot of our people, because we didn't have no need for it anyways, we were considered what they call naked or without clothes. And the Blanco was ready to establish that this was barbaric. This was uncivilized. Who doesn't cover up? Bitch, we didn't need to cover up. And
Right.
so a lot of us, when we got into our thinking, when we looked at our cultures and stuff, we would then, with they soft racism, as they like to call it, Blancos would attribute these civilizations as being backwards. They're not backwards, they're forward. You just can't do what they do. And we know the Blanco, when they got an opportunity to be butt-ass naked, they did. They got nudist beach and all this different
That's
shit.
right.
Pornography, the face of it. When they was able to take pride in being naked, oh, they showed their ass. Literally. They showed their ass. These Blancos run around here butt-ass naked every time they get to do a woman's march. When they're rebelling against man, talking about we shouldn't be seen as objects, but they do a march protesting and showing their titties and shit.
Exactly.
This shit.
Crazy.
Can't wait to show their ass. You go to football games and soccer games, they streaking. White man running through the motherfucking crowd naked and shit. This is what they couldn't wait to do.
The light of their damn day. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you, yes.
Crazy.
Because at this time, man, when you said, of course they are real. Yes, they're real. They're very real.
Yes.
Matter of fact, they're showing you how real that they are. So much so that when you're having sex with them, you believe it's real, and you end up having what's called a wet dream. You end up ejaculating. You don't always ejaculate in most cases, but some people do. You have some people who have so many of them, they get psychiatric help. Research this shit. So when we say anytime, and they say for a lot of those people, it's even worse when they try to repress their sexual energy, because it's not about repression, it's about mastering the energy. The body is always reproducing with itself. We talked about meiosis and mitosis, right? You see what I'm saying? So within you, the cells are reproducing, creating daughter cells. Your energy is having sex with itself technically. That's why you have a buildup of sexual energy. Then from all the energy that you get from them reproducing amongst their cells, you feel like you got to release that energy your damn self. You see what I'm saying? Because you're going to feel the energy being built. A woman going to be like, damn, I'm feeling like I'm in the mood right now, because she got the buildup. You got the ministration. You got the crystals forming and shit. So you got this buildup of powerful energy, and the woman takes it as like, oh, I should feel bad about myself because the church told me.
Say it, brother. Say it.
And men be feeling like, oh, they watching some Negroes talk about semen retention and how you be more focused and all this different crap, but they ain't got nothing to say about the food and nothing else. Nigga, stop it. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
The food's so toxic, I wouldn't care if you didn't jack off for 20 years, nigga. You still wouldn't reach high enlightenment because your ass taking in the wrong crystals. You need to stop it. Because this is what happens when you have compartmentalized thought parading around as a holistic worldview. These niggas got little bits and pieces of information, and then they running around like they got the end all be all. That's why I don't fuck with niggas who do that. Neither do I fuck with our women who do that too as well. We all got to be in the search for this high, which means that going back to the fundamentals. I don't want nobody who try to be Steph Curry all the time, shoot 40, 50 shots and can't make a layup. We got to be able to do the fundamentals to get closer to winning the game. You see what I'm saying? So when we look at the fundamentals, start taking it from what the book of Genesis or the genes of Isis said, where we started at. We know that these two celestial beings were here before we were. Let's start investigating them. I think that's the first thing we need to start doing. I don't give a one thing the block I want to teach you about is how great man was. Oh, the civilizations of this. Fuck them civilizations. That's why notice that's why he's making man more powerful. He's taking the place of these gods, because what these gods soon create will end up destroying them. That's why the moon is worried, because the moon end up helping to create something that will soon try to destroy it. Because eventually they're gonna come for the moon. Look how they threw its flag on it. I walked on this motherfucker. On the celestial being that the Bible talked about, you claim that this Blanco placed this flag on that motherfucker? Stop playing. Stop playing. So, that is in its essence, in its conclusion, what we need to do. We need to tap back into our energy, because sexual energy is what governs this planet. That's what it is. That's how everything came about, how everything is here. Mind you, I got, what I bought from the health food store? I bought some bee pollen. Oh, yeah. Bee pollen contains nutrients, enzymes, everything beneficial. But if I was to be real, we know what pollen is. It's sexual energy. That's what pollen is. So like we said before, when you get a Blanco talking about I'm allergic to the pollen, I got You know what I'm saying? And these allergies. And a lot of our people are getting into
Yeah.
because but you're saying you're allergic to the earth's sexual energy.
Mhm.
Pollen is sexual energy. It is literally semen for the trees and shit. That's why they say, let me teach you about the birds and the bees. The birds and the bees participate in the sexual acts of Mother Nature. They deliver the sexual energy from plants to plants because plants don't move. They need all this energy to take in the sun. Imagine if you were to move, right? They will follow the sun. You'll notice if you got plants, they'll follow the direction of the sun. Okay? But what's important, like we told you about, is that they have the ability to capture the sun's crystal because it takes a lot of metabolic energy to capture the sun's crystal and turn it into what we call fruits and vegetables. All right, that's what they end up producing. That's what they end up producing. Okay, so yeah, that I think that's profound. All of this, research that we do, it leads us back to the beginning, and that's where we should start. The great luminaries that were created, and if you buy into the Most High, you believe what the Most High has said. I know I said pollen flies, plant semen. Yeah, it is. It's hard to see, but when you start to notice that, when you start to think about it in that way, don't it change up the way you see Mother Nature? You see, now you know why the wind blows, because the wind also participates in delivering the semen.
That's right. Okay? There's an intricate part.
Oh, man. That's why the wind blows, but the blanco will give you a million reasons at the inside. Well, we really don't know. Bitch, if the wind didn't blow, half the time it won't be able to pollinate. You ever blew a sunflower seeds? You get them, and what you do, you blow them. You mimic Mother Earth. You blow the seeds out. That's how the seeds spread.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand this is that this is the energy is ruled by sexual energy, right? And the most profound sort of energy being emitted by the sun comes in the form of crystals, and all these crystals are in the form of sexual energy. This is why we look at these things, and we always have to look at sex as something perverse in nature. But why would it be for people who have been using this sort of energy to get in and out of this portal since times immemorial, right? The only person who seems that they want to be embarrassed about sexual energy are those who can't use it to the best of their ability. And so they want us to feel the same way. Got one for y'all. Speaking of bee pollen, get you some of that royal bee honey. It's high in pollen content. Some good stuff. Oh yeah, you got to. Some people may not be particular to that type of sugar because, like I tell people all the time, also with any type of sugar, it may work for you, but certain crystals may not work for the other person. Even another solar being, they may find that watermelon works for them. They may find that that's why it was so important for them to detach you from your tribe. That's why it was so important to detach you from your tribe, because your tribe knew what would go well with your bloodline. Your tribe knew what would go well with your bloodline. You see what I'm saying? So we know that the sun participates in this sexual energy because we know once the sun comes back around, here comes all this life again. Life can only come about through sexual or cellular reproduction. Notice what they say, reproducing, cellular reproduction. The only way something can reproduce is through sexual energy. Either it is reproducing within itself, asexual, or it is reproducing with another being to come up. Human beings do both, regardless of popular belief, contrary to popular belief, because we reproduce, cellular reproduction occurs within us. And then we also have the ability to reproduce with other organisms, to share our genetic information. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, this gets pretty deep, brothers and sisters. I mean, it is definitely, something that that we have to continue to keep being mindful of, and recapturing our identity. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not selling bee pollen. I actually get mines from a reputable source. They have like a bee farm too as well, but then they sell theirs to the natural health food store that I go to, which is just around the corner. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm gonna start. I actually put it on my schedule to take because I wanted to actually see the impact. That's why for the last 2 weeks I've cut out any other type. Like I'm actually canceling certain things, like fruits I don't eat as much as I used to. You know what I'm saying? So I'll eat I eat more vegetables than fruits. I mean, that's really the point about being a vegetarian, because motherfuckers be a vegetarian, but swear to God, they literally know that they eat more fruits than vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Which fruits contain more fructose, or the sweet type of sugar, than they do the, you know what I'm saying, the balance that you need to take a lot of pressure off your body. So if you really want to clean your blood, you're dealing with vegetable sugar, because it has the balance of fructose and glucose, and it also contains the enzymes to help separate those crystals for you, so that you could take those crystals and make your proteins and make everything else that's important to the human body to function at an optimal level, and also giving you the opportunity to reach the highest level of enlightenment. So that's important. You have to tailor your diet. You have to pay attention to everything that you're putting in your body, because remind you, the experiment in alchemy is this: for you to transform yourself. Notice, when you pay attention to food and all that different shit, how does that help you? You got people who struggle with food and they live to eat. I can't wait to wake up in the morning. They're right there in the kitchen cooking and shit. You know, I see at work, people can't wait for lunchtime. They down there by the microwaves. They got a long line. They're warming up food and blah, 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 all this different stuff. And day in, day out, what do you see from these people? They're being zapped. Their energy is gone. They're daydreaming about their yesteryears and stuff, wondering why it's so hard to do this and do that, still filling up their body with the very shit that's keeping them on the same route. And I find it so disturbing, and I absolutely abhor it. That's why I said by any means I was going to do what I need to do, because I'm eating to live, not living to eat. I'm eating to live, not living to eat. And I have now a renewed sense of what these foods are. They're crystals. So when I take a part of this stuff now, I know why I'm eating. I know why I'm eating. You see what I'm saying? Just like when I get off from here, I haven't ate all day, and not because I've been dropping my live. I ain't saying I forgot to eat, but by the time I was thinking about eating, I was just like, whatever. And then I know when I finish this, I'm gonna have some watermelons and a couple pears and stuff just to get my energy back, because I've been using a little bit of energy. But if it wasn't that, I would have made me a salad with some cucumbers, and I would have cut up some, you know, I got my eggplant that I need to prepare and stuff. You know, so and then squash and all that different stuff, and then obviously my spinach, lettuce. So I love that stuff, and I understand that this is the power of the sun that I'm taking in. So in the effort to reframe or to re-engineer the body, you first have to re-engineer the endocrine system. Remember, your pineal gland is a part of your endocrine system. This is deep, brothers and sisters. Your pineal gland is a part of your endocrine system. So how you balance out your hormones is by taking in the right crystals. There is no way that you're going to be sound in your chemistry if you do not take advantage of the fact that you need the right crystals in your body, period. All that shit only goes so far. We're putting the moon crystals in moon water and all of this shit, and looking at the moon and looking at the sun is going to take a little bit more than that. But I'm pretty sure you guys are up for the challenges. If you wouldn't be at this channel. You wouldn't frequent my channel. So I have faith that you brothers and sisters, as well as I have faith in myself, that we're going to continue on in this endeavor, and we're going to be successful. We're going to be successful. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. So, or has the name sweet in it, same as saying sugar fruit. Well, fruit, sugar, you know, it's sweet because of something called fructose. You know, like I said, you got the glucose and fructose molecule attached together. That makes sucrose. Sucrose is natural, but then you have the Blanco's artificial version called sucrose, which you call table sugar. And he supposedly balances it out and has fructose and glucose aligned properly. But we can't, like I said, mind you, he calls it crystal sugar. We went over some of these things. So his crystals you want to avoid. You want to avoid his crystals at all costs if you can, because I've already established through the evidence that sugars are hormones. You have to understand that. So he's gotten us to believe that these hormones are just in these, and you know, milk and meat, when the biggest hormone producer is sugar, because that's what your body breaks everything down to. Proteins, you know, carbohydrates are obviously a sugar. Fats can be broken down to sugars, or sugars will store themselves as fat. You're not getting away from it. In the video I showed you, protein is nothing but carbohydrates with a nitrogen attached, CHON. That's it. Your body breaks off the nitrogen, but it knows what to do with the carbohydrate. Okay? That's why proteins can be toxic. But the Blanco, who's a chemist, he knows this. They know this. But of course, we showed you in this book, Salt, Sugar, Fat, which you have to have in your library by Michael Moss. He showed you how all these companies come together. How they all come together. They meet and convene on how to strategize in order to control the crystallogens. This is a fact. Terms like racial effect, studying African Americans are all in this book. Okay. Oh yeah, like when they say sweet corn, yeah, you better believe that they've adulterated the sugar in there. That's just genetically modified organism. Or basically what they've done is they may have genetically modified it naturally, which means that they bred a certain stock with another one to get a sweet tasting corn, just like they do with the apples and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You can do what's called grafting and all of that. You know, you can, you know, like we said, you can either do it straight artificial like the Blanco really does it, or you can breed other you know, organisms if it happens to take up with other ones. And you do that with apple trees and all that by grafting the trees. You see what I'm saying? So you can look up that science and all that different stuff too. But yeah, you know, more than likely when the Blanco talking about his corn that he got, is usually something that he adulterated, and you got to stay away from it. That's one of the reasons why he took over these land masses. You know what I'm saying? One in the West Indies where they controlled the sugar because they had to control the crystals, the tobacco, and all of this different stuff. Like you said, they split your tribes up. They made sure that they cause war and division amongst your tribe like they're doing now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And so with that knowledge, I mean, with that breakup, we lost our knowledge. We lost our connection to Mother Earth, not just in the connection like we were just out there smoking peace pipes, you know, and having orgies and shit. Not none of that overt shit. We're talking about the connection, which would have made all that make sense. Because when you lose a connection, the only thing you have left is these rituals. Only thing you're seeing is people doing blood sacrifices, orgies, and you're like, what type of sick shit is this? You know, but when you begin to understand, not saying that all that stuff is you know, depending on how you take it, it's just that when you understand the power of the blood, like when the Blanco dude, the Blanco billionaire had told you, the Blanco said what? He said, look, we see that the menstrual blood has full of stem cells and powerful energy. You know what I'm saying? But according to your religion, all that woman's at a time of month, banish her. You know what I'm saying? It's like Bobby Hemmett said. He said, look how the woman is treated in the Bible. Look at Delilah. She slept with somebody. They call that woman a whore and shit. And then, but yet, King Solomon could have 300 fucking wives. And anytime he goes to war, it's cool. But let the woman sleep with somebody else. That mother, she's a whore. She's Babylon.
She's a whore immediately. She can't have any kind of like, hey, I'm a woman. I'm a grown ass woman. Who telling me what to do? They got to come at her.
I'm trying to tell you, they got to destroy the connection of the power of the woman and what she, you know what I'm saying, what she means to restoring the balance. Like, it's not like I said before, like I just gave credit to where credit is due to me. And it's just to me. The Black woman is the most beautiful woman on the earth. And I don't say that just because I'm saying it. I've seen all aspects of her. Me having a relationship with her in terms of a woman that I know, you know what I'm saying, whether it's the mother of my child or, you know, Black women that I've been with. And it's also me experiencing on a platonic level and a familial level with my mother and my sisters and, you know, my nieces and stuff. I see the greatness in her. And then I see it also in our ancestors that we're loosely connected to. Henrietta Lacks, how she saved the world many a times and continues to save the world through the Blanco's manipulation of her genetic material. You know what I'm saying? We see it in our women time and time again. Not just to mention we come through a portal. Some men argue, oh yeah, you know, we got the sperm and the sperm does this explosion. But I said the woman still has to carry that child for 9 months. Still got to develop that baby. That's why you be going with her to the doctor and then be scratching your head. Well, is the baby all right? Is the baby healthy? You ain't saying, oh, because of the sperm I donated this mother. Come on, man, stop it. So she puts her all into this. It destabilizes her literal vessel to bring this baby about. And then once the baby comes out, the job's not done. That baby needs milk.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You ain't finna pull your chest out and get to feeding that baby. No, sir. Not gonna be possible.
That baby need that life source.
And what the Blanco gives us the illusion of, because they can go to the store and buy some fake milk that they can be a parent. Oh yeah, you know, I'll go and get some Similac. I'm good. I can take care of this baby. Woman, get out the way. Sit down somewhere.
Like, and then what happened? It's a lack of Similac. It's a lack of SIM because what the woman's breast milk has SIM code information in it, light code information. So they depriving you of giving that to your child, which is information as well. Same thing they do when they cut the placenta. It also has light code information in it, SIM information. Mother
yeah, oh yeah. And listen, that last comment about the sister, that was a beautiful
Yes,
comment.
let me
You
have
know
you.
why? You know why? Because my mom, let me tell you something. My mom's married. My sister is married to the same guy since she was 19. They fell in love at 16. She ain't been with another guy since. My other sister is married. My auntie's married. My grandmother's married. I haven't seen dysfunction. So you know, when I got some boys that be like, man, you know, these bitches be out here tripping, man. The black woman do it. I'm like, I can't hold your hand in that. Now I feel you. I feel you. Trust me, I feel you, because it ain't like it don't exist. But the Most High didn't put me around that. This is why I make such a good warrior, because I've seen the best of our women, and I've also seen the best of our men. The Most High didn't give me opportunity to delve into all of that destructive shit. My grandmother's 88 years old, been married for 50, 60 years. You see what I'm saying? My grandfather, my dad's dad, on my dad's side, he just turned 95, and his wife just passed away. Even the men in our family stuck to the women. Like, we got a strong knit family. My family in Tupelo, Mississippi, we got the largest family in Tupelo, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? So I got an opportunity to see my great-great-grandmother before she passed away. Most High said, look at what, right? You telling me what? Hey. Come on now. All I seen was greatness. So when I get around people that try to reduce that and get me to buy into all of this division, I'm telling you that you better go back to the beginning.
Okay. Y'all got the wrong people.
You got the wrong, you messing with the wrong.
Somebody wasn't equally yoked, and that yoke needed to crack and split apart, and it is what it is. So hey, you don't get that right yoke, it's gonna happen.
That's what it's all about, because it's just one of those things where bloodlines sometimes manifest themselves even without the need of a curator. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a creator and a curator. A curator keeps the creation up to date. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes your curators come in the form of, like you said, your family around you. Even if they don't align themselves with what you stand for, you'll find out that the support that they offer helps you to remain stable yourself. You see what I'm saying? So I always receive support from my sisters, even though my sisters are Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what I'm saying? And my mom is too, my grandmother and all that. Don't take away from the fact that when I come out my grandmother's house, she'd be like, boy, where you been at? You know what I'm saying? And I go talk and sit with my grandmother. Like, I got to think about all that wealth of energy, because when my mother was pregnant with me, a tornado hit this city. A tornado hit this city. And you know what's so crazy? Around the time my mom was pregnant with me, my grandmother could have easily been one of those mothers to say, you know what? This is your third child already, and you're only 19 years old. And you're only 9, so do the math. So my grandmother could have said, you need to get rid of these children. You living in my house. She didn't have to take care of my mom. Things could have been worse. You see what I'm saying? But what did my grandmother do? She supported her. So anytime, when you see a lot of the stuff that's going on, you know what I'm saying? I'm in Kazoo, Michigan. I'm in Kazoo. I'm in MI. I'm on part of the Michigan tribe, Kalamazoo tribe. That's our tribes. All this shit ours. All this shit ours.
That's right.
We are looking for the lost tribes. Here we are. What the fuck we running around looking like some $5 Indians running around? We are the indigenous to this land, just like we're the indigenous to the planet. But with that being said, you in Orlando? That's what's up. You in the Sunshine State.
Yeah, beautiful. Florida is beautiful. I love Florida.
It is, until they, trying to, do all. I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida for 2 years and stuff. So you know what I'm saying? Palm Beach, Florida, but I've lived in Atlanta, Georgia off and on for 13 years. I stayed in South Central LA for a little bit, stayed in Chicago, St. Louis and shit. So I've been around, you know what I'm saying? Your boy been around doing the work. I've been around doing my work, right? You know what I'm saying? So but yeah, that is the thing. Like, to me, this is what it all boils down to, is our understanding that we got to just go back to the basics. Being in this realm, it can be confusing, because of course we are under a spell that we call the English language, and we know how complicated things can seem when we are fully immersed in the spell work, right? And they words mean the same. Blanco will be lying and telling the truth in the same sense. Menses is not a monthly; it doesn't associate with the moon. Why call it menses, bitch? You such a fork-tongued devil. You telling the truth and lying at the same time.
Can't help it.
Can't help it. Me and Obi would say, man, only time when he ain't lying is when he's eating and sleeping. Other than that, When this blanco is up, man, they lying. They lying about something, either lying to you or lying to themselves or both.
Or both.
That's
I
how
was
deep
trying.
this is.
I wanted to show you something, brother. Oh man, hold on. I couldn't find it in my album. I was looking. I got so many pictures, but I found it and posted it the other day. Some pictures I found of one of my brothers. I was thinking about him. He going through some stuff, and like I was looking for the picture. And let me just show you this real quick, brother. This gonna trip you out. Now I seen something when he was talking. I was like, bro, scoot over for a minute. I see something. He was like, what you looking at? I was like, I don't know, but it's some kind of weird light or something, right? Where the heck is the thing at? Okay, here we go. So this is the light. I'm gonna show you. I got to go to two different ones. So this is the light. Let me try to go down a little bit that I was seeing when I started seeing this. You could see it. You see this, right? It's going up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then here it go again. Look right here. You see this, right? Okay, now hold on. Let me go back to the other one because it's not gonna let me go to the other pictures on here. But I posted two different ones because I had it's quite a few of the pictures. But wait till you see this one, brother. Look at this, brother. Look at this, brother. Tell me this don't blow your mind. This portal opened up, and you see this being right here, arms open, head going right through the portal. You see? Do you see that?
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I see it. And
Here
you
you
know,
go.
go ahead.
Look.
Go ahead.
No, I just want to show you the other one too. It's just it blew my mind.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. What see one thing, if you know, real big
That was in Florida too. Since you said that, that's what made me think of it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh really? Yeah, Sunshine say, yeah, you know, one of the real big things that we got to understand is that the visible, okay, so you have what's called the electromagnetic spectrum. I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with this. The electromagnetic spectrum, radio waves at the bottom. So you have waves and you know, gravitates up to, you know, just energy, right? So radio waves, microwaves, you have infrared, visible light, gamma rays, x-rays, gamma rays, cosmic rays, etc. Right? So it starts to build up into this energy, right? So what we showed you, we played that video, How the Sun Sees You. We showed you that when you're able to see at different parts of the spectrum, you're able to open up different dimensions. You see, and every so often we see the light and how it operates and stuff, and we get a snapshot of understanding how beings get here, the nature, you know, how nature really works, which truth is stranger than fiction. But the way that we actually accentuate this the most, I'm telling our brothers and sisters, this is why this is so important, is because we accentuate this the most through our dreams. The energy that you collect will be made through you in your dreams. Now, this is the point. If you get an opportunity, it was on Netflix. If you got Netflix, look up the movie called Super Me. It's called Super Me. In that movie, it start off, it's an Asian flick, but it start off how the Asians are talking about how the individuals who have power cut off us, you know, cut off our energy to ourselves and lock these things up in the dream world. You see what I'm saying? So literally what he had the power to do was go in his dreams and start stealing artifacts and bringing them into reality. And it's a dope movie. You really got to see that movie. It's called Super Me. You would not be disappointed if you watch that movie. Because see, what we got to realize is, think about this, brothers and sisters. As long as we live, it's not going to take away from the spirit realm or the super realm. I don't care how long you want to be in this reality. I don't give a fuck if you live forever. Even a vampire supposedly is immortal. He still got to sleep. He still got to sleep. You still have to go back to this realm. So it is gathering the energy from this realm, which you think is real, bringing it back to the spiritual realm or the dream world, where even the Aboriginals, or the Australian Aboriginals, talk about that's where the world started. That's how the world was created, through the dream realm. You see what I'm saying? So it is the sharing. Literally, you're seeing the duality. You're seeing something that exists more so in your dream world, but you're seeing it in reality. When the sun so-called leaves or sets, you have the moon being pronounced and controlling the night with all of the stars and all of this different stuff. Stars that you could not see when the sun was out. Didn't mean that they weren't there. They were always there. But as they say, you can't hold a candle to the sun. You know what I'm saying? And so ultimately, Well, according to Blanco science, NASA says that during a new moon, the sun rises and sets with the moon. I mean, the moon rises and sets with the sun. So, like you said, you know, if you have a problem with the moon setting, you gotta take that science up with the Blanco. Because that's literally the definition of a new moon, part of the definition that it rises and sets with the sun. You see
Now,
what
what about, I'm sorry, brother. I know
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah.
know this. What about the there's a god or something, Set, right? Or Seti?
Yeah, Set. You talking about the god Set, the brother of Osiris?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So when he said that, this just popped in my head, so I'm just gonna run it by you. He said the sun sets. When he said the sun sets, I'm thinking like, the sunset, which brings out the moon, and Set is a god, is a god. Is that like a sun god? What is that? Because I'm not real
Yeah,
familiar
that
with you.
is it. And it also depends on the Egyptian myth that you're reading, because in some instances, Set is seen as good, and in some instances, Set is seen as bad, right? And in both, if you really take from it, you can understand that it's both dynamics at work, because Set, obviously, we know he's the one who got jealous of Osiris and Isis, or in some cultures that call him Osoro and Asasi. You see what I'm saying?
Hold on, bro. You
Yeah.
said, I'm sorry, bro. I'll be thinking crazy shit sometimes. I'm sorry.
No,
I just gotta go in my head. So you said something about the sun, the eye to Isis, and with Isis and what you said about Isis being jealous of the
Isis,
sun?
No. Isis and Osiris had a relationship. Supposedly they were brother and sister. So we know, of course, this idea of brother and sister has to be seen with a grain of salt, because it's just not the way that we see. Like in our terms, we say brother and sister for even our brothers and sisters that's not related to us. You see what I'm saying? So it could be just about bloodline, because we're all connected in some way in terms of our bloodline to a degree, right? Not all through and out, but so they're supposed to be brother and sister. And what happens is Set, desires his power. He's the uncle, and he's married to another one of his sisters or whatever. But basically, how the story goes is he invites Osiris to this festival, I believe, and challenges him whether or not he can fit into this chest. And Osiris goes into it, and then of course he chops Osiris' body up in like 13 pieces. 12 is in the and then he buries him under this tree, and the 13th piece was his phallus. And so Isis comes back and spreads her wings over Osiris and puts him back together, and gives birth to Horus or Heru. You know what I'm saying? And this called the Immaculate Conception. This is how you have the mother.
So the Immaculate Conception and the fertility god is associated with that. And it's something about what he said with the setting of the moon. I don't want to disturb the building, what you're saying, bro, but that's taking me somewhere. I swear, I'm trying not to go there.
Horus is where the term hours come from. Horus and hours, similarity. So you have basically about however long, depending on your season, till the sun sets. But we know if you look at the dome, the sun never really sets. It just goes out of view, because to somebody it's setting over here, but it's daytime over in Japan and shit. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
It ain't never really set, but it's saying that the god Set had, basically brought darkness. You know what I'm saying? The sun had set, you know what I'm saying, and had disappeared, and Set was able to conquer the sun. And then
okay, there it goes. See, that's what I was hearing. Yes. Okay, so the sun set. So they associate Set, the god Set, with the sun setting, which is bringing down the light and bringing on the darkness. That's crazy. I just heard that, but I didn't know why I was feeling that. But that's crazy. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So that's Egyptian mythology. We know still rules because it's on our dollar. We see the pyramid and stuff like that. So yeah, it's something that we have to look at, and we have to look at closely, because like we talk about, when we start evaluating these myths are some of the most profound documents and information that you could ever come across, especially considering if you can get something that's intact. I encourage people to have an account on archive.org. That's archive.org. It's free. You can set up an account for free. Any book that you could think of, they have it on there, especially books that you can't get. You know what I'm saying? So like the Dictionary of Deities is on there, which is a book that if you looked it up on eBay and even Amazon, people are selling that book for $300-400. That's how much they want to keep the knowledge of all of these mythical characters outside of the hands of melanated beings. But Bobby Hemmett, when he was on his lecture tours, he would recommend that book to everybody he ran across, because it's something that you have in your library. It's not something you read from A to Z. It just gives the list of gods from A to Z. So you're not going, it's going to give brief descriptions and summaries of these gods, who believed in them, what their purpose was, so forth and so on. And then you start to see a common theme. All of it centered around these celestial beings. You know what I'm saying? So it goes back to the sun and the moon, the interpretations of them. Some myths have like there were 5, 6 moons, and then some god came and killed 6 or 7 of them, and then only one stood. And so, then you got the Mayans who believe that the moon goddess made a flood and destroyed the sun. You see what I'm saying? So here you go again with the sun and the moon warring against each other and stuff. So yeah.
What do you know about the black sun, brother? Have you heard anybody talk about the black sun, which is supposed to be in the inner earth or something of the sort?
Well, the type of sun, they say that it's a sun inside the hollow earth. That's why a lot of people should have been watching the Black Panther movie that just came out real closely, because it showed that there was a sun in, underwater or in the earth or whatever, if you want to call it that. But there's also the Black Sun occult organization that Hitler was a part of. Hitler knew, y'all did not look at Sabrina. She on it. Yeah, Hitler knew was a part of a cult called the Black Sun. And it was literally a black sun with, I think, 12 rays around it. Okay, 12 rays around it. And mind you, Hitler had
12 rays.
Yeah, I think it was 12 rays. I don't know. I'm sure it's something 12.
So that's resemblance of Jesus and the 12 disciples?
I'm not sure. I don't want to be quoted on how many rays, but I know it was probably somewhere between 12 and 12. I don't know how many rays it was. I have to go back because I haven't read up on that in a long time. But yeah, they were called the occult of the Black Sun, and they wanted that symbol to replace the swastika that they had came over. Mind you, because that's an ancient symbol. You see,
that's our symbol.
That's our symbol. But see, the so-called Jews don't want us to be affiliated with that symbol. That's why they have to associate that symbol with
it. Thieving asses. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So we know what's going on with this stuff, right? So that's what's so deep about this stuff. But yeah, the Order of the Black Sun was the new symbol that they were going to use to replace the swastika. And also remember, the bust of Nefertiti is in the German museum. When when Egypt wanted to petition for the bust back, Hitler said, "Over my dead body." So when you understand that they knew where the esoteric thought lied, where the energy was, they were vehemently against even giving the energy back. Oh, yeah, Sabrina, on point. Who remembers Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yeah.
I do. Because they showed you where the energy was. Because remember, Israel tries to propagate it as, remember we talked to you about the mountains, that Mount Moriah. Remember I discussed Mount Moriah. Mount Moriah is where, you got the second temple wall ruins. This is where Jesus overturned the temples and all of this different stuff. This is where all of this shit took place in this whole 36-acre area. Okay, right? This small area that they call Mount Moriah. This is supposedly where Abraham was about to sacrifice Isaac. All of this deep shit, right? So where you are, what you also have is you have the what is it? What's the name of that? It's a dome that was built. You know what I'm saying? By Islam, you know what I'm saying? On top of a church, okay? And underneath that is what's called the foundation stone. Underneath the foundation stone is the well of souls. The well of souls, right? But see, in the Indiana Jones movie, they let you know what the well of souls was. They go run their ass back to Egypt. They in this motherfucker trying to act like, oh, everything is there. But like you said, that's the overplay for the underplay. My God.
I'm sorry. I'm in my head, bro. I was reading the comment. I'm listening to you and reading the comment. I do that, brother. Please forgive me. I definitely don't intend to be rude because I ain't mean to do that.
No, it's all good. This is about a build. I'm not, I'm just, what I'm saying, we just building. So,
no, but you literally in mid-sentence. So I heard you. I think my mind be going sometimes faster. I'm thinking 2 or 3 things. I'm sorry, brother, and I burst it out. But she said, look what she wrote. She said, Black Sunrise spoke the other day on her live. I don't know who that is. Says, email me her thing so I can check her channel out. She said, spoke on her live about Seth and Seti teaming up with Ra to defeat the water beast. Now that's just what I was asking you from what you was talking about Do you see how this information,
Yeah.
the water bearer, the time of information, the Aquarian age, y'all, it is here for us to grasp it. Now, it's no reason for the sister to know or associate this with what I'm talking about. That's why she put it up there, because she knows, oh, this is what sis talking about. This is the same thing the lady was talking about. This is what the brother was just talking about. Come on now, y'all.
Yeah. Synchronicity is a motherfucker. I mean, and then, like you said,
I love it.
One thing that is showing you too is the different type of characters that are being played.
Yes.
By these, sometimes Seti and Seth is, they rocking with each other, and other myths, they at each other's throats. And you see, that's why it's so important to understand these things, but and also how you pull it all together is you have to understand that these blancos know too, all the stuff that they got hidden, they're going to disclose it to you in the technology that they present to you. You see what I'm saying? So when we don't have the missing pieces, all we got to do is look at what the blancos doing currently. That's all you have to do.
I know a guy in the service told me that they definitely have to. This was out of his mouth. He said they have to disclose the information. So this is why they use the movies and stuff, because it's something they have to do. So what you're saying is like pure fact.
Oh yeah. It's from the tree. The Kabbalah. The Kabbalah says that you have to let us know what's going on. Basically, you have to let the Goyim know what's going on. You see what I'm saying? You have to tell us. You know what I mean? Because other than that, that's the only way that they can make it an unfair fight. You see what I'm saying? That they have to tell us what's going on. Everything else they're gonna do is, leverage the playing field in all these other areas. And the way that they do that with great accuracy is that they make us feel like we're nothing because we're not a part of the artificial matrix. We don't have all the money. We worried about our bills. We looking at our clothes, what we wear. Yeah. We worried about if the dollar gonna fall. We worried about this artificial matrix now. Blanco has stood it up on inequity. He stood it up on slaves' blood as he came. Now we don't want it to go. Oh yeah, just give me some money for them niggas being beat, and then I'm good. Where the reparations at? I know what you did. Yeah, you hung, you beat, you stabbed, you killed, you murdered, but just give me some money. We can call it even. We can move on. We can help you continue to keep building this nation. So yeah, that's really what's some profound stuff, right? But yeah, the mythical characters, man. Yeah, when you hear enough of them, you'll hear different variations of Set. And the Osiris and Isis and Horus Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that new Aquaman movie. I'm already on it. I'm gonna be there with. Man, there's some movies, just like when I had to go see The Flowers of the New Moon. I had to go see that in theater. Aquaman, I'll be there too. Yeah. And then, like you said, one thing with Aquaman is they got a dude who holds the trident. He's the Black Trident. Here we go again. So you already, black is evil, all this different stuff the Blanco's trying to make, but he knows he represents purity from just being white. He ain't even got to dress himself up as white. He can be dressed in green, black, it don't matter. I'm a white man. So you already know or associate white with purity, white with justice. You see what I'm saying? So
my grandbabies wanted to see this movie so bad, Elemental, brother. Did you hear about that?
Elemental?
It was about the elements, brother. Yes, it was a cartoon.
I watched it about 4 times. Of
Oh
course.
my, bro, listen. When they took me, I was like, "Oh, y'all got Nana so excited."
It was on Esoteric. And look, no doubt, it's a dope ass movie. Anyways, it's a dope ass movie. Anyway. But yeah, they talk about the elements and how they try to live one another. Because one thing they do, remember, I just told you what they did. They personify the elements.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They made fire this, chick who running around, and they made water this dude. And so that's the only way a lot of times we can even get close to understanding gods is when we make them like us. That's our problem.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? That's our problem. But it was dope how they played on that, man. You got to, I don't even want to put no spoilers in that, but
well, I told them, brother, I said, I don't even want to tell y'all too much about it. Y'all just got to see it. Take the kids to see it. It's a beautiful. My grandbaby watch it. It's on. You ain't got to take them. I'm sorry. It's actually on Disney now. I think it's on the Disney Channel. Y'all know I don't push us. Y'all know how I feel about Disney, y'all. But this particular movie, I really enjoyed it. So yeah, they can watch it on the Disney Channel or whatever. They love that movie. Them babies watch that thing over and over and over again. I'm like, oh my gosh, they love it.
Yeah. I mean, because they're communicating to it's easier to communicate to an esoteric being with esoteric material. You see what I'm saying? With us, we looking at the story because we've been zapped. You know what I'm saying? We've been zapped. You know
They
what I mean?
innocent, yeah.
And they're more tapped into it. Mind you, the brain makes more connections between the years of 2 to 5. Their brain is why it's active. They're on nuclear power.
Right.
Nuclear power. They are on nuclear power. You
Elemental,
see,
sis. I'm sorry.
Elementals, yeah. You know what I mean? And so with these elements like fire and water come together, but they begin to show you in subliminal ways how they work together. And this is what you see, and this is why, like, if you look at the periodic table of elements, remember I told you that if you can envision. Now, hold on. Matter of fact, I might be able to just hold on while I'm talking. Let me not even have to talk right quick because I'm gonna pull this up. I'm gonna pull this up right quick. I'll pull another two.
I appreciate your energy, brother. I know you're tired.
But I'm never most high be letting I have such a love for this information.
Yes. Especially when it be getting good, man. Come on, it's like, you can't let it go. But
I was planning on only doing about an hour and a half, and I was like,
know.
Pick up. Hey, listen, come on now. I don't get this opportunity all the time.
Yes. I appreciate you. This fire, as usual. You always bring the great information, brother. I love building with you for sure. You already know.
Building with each other. Yeah, that's all. That's what all this stuff is about. Okay, let me see if I can enlarge this. I don't think that was the wrong thing to press. Let's see. Save image as, edit image, create. Yeah. Okay. Open image in the new tab. Let me see if this. Okay. Yeah, no, that's perfect. All right. So, okay. So I'm finna share my screen right quick just to show you guys something. All right. Can you see that, sis?
Yep, there you go.
All right, periodic table of elements, brothers and sisters. Just real quick, we ain't gonna get too sciencey, but we finna get you to understand something. These horizontal rows, okay, are called periods. You got 1, 2. Yeah. Well, that's supposed to be 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 periods. Most High created the world, obviously, in 6 days, rested on the 7th. This periodic table is an esoteric table. Okay, you have hydrogen at 1 as it stands alone, and helium. Hydrogen means hydro generation, to generate water. Helium in Greek mythology is the god of the sun, Helios. The periodic table of elements in the first, that's what goes back to these, the book in Genesis. Out of hydrogen or generating water, God created the sun or Helios. You see what I'm saying? These vertical columns in chemistry, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea. These groups, okay? These vertical columns are called families. Here you go again with carbon 14 group. You have carbon, silica, germanium, tin, lead, and flavonium. All right. These vertical columns is established in chemistry that they're all chemically or similarly related. They're similar to one another, but they tell a story. Then you go for metals and gases and shit like that. As you go up the periodic table of elements, you increase in what's called electronegativity. So, but when I'm not going to, I didn't want to bore you guys with all of the science and stuff, but only thing that I wanted to show you, excuse me, let me get back to this. Only thing that I wanted to show you was that it tells a story. So when we don't have to really go too far. That's why chemistry was our science, because our science was our religion. It is a splitting up or creating a dichotomy as to how the Blanco was excelling. Because when you split up information, you get compartmentalized thought. In turn, you get confusion. You see what I'm saying? But the most perfect thing for the Most High to give you was not a religion that kept you in ghosts and shadows and all that. It could be used. You see, the Blanco used our chemistry to build his matrix. All that shit that I just showed you, carbon and all that, hydrocarbons, that's your oil, gas. That's what runs his artificial matrix. Carbon, the diamond, that's what he sells. All the manipulation of those elements and stuff that you see is how he creates his matrix or his technology. But yet he wants to feign ignorance and act like, oh, aliens gave me this shit. Okay, so if we are the aliens, then bitch, I guess what you're saying is right. Because you didn't get that shit from no aliens. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying earth elements is the source of all. Oh man, shoot. Like I said before, this stuff here is so deep and profound that it's amazing. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to watch out. Even what we see, they're gonna be adept at. Like, give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you.
On top of that, real quick, sis, including one of the most important elements, us. They got these blood plasma banks in every neighborhood around our people, so that they can do exactly what you just said. They're using them to make or create weapons.
Yeah, so yeah, and let me see if I can see more.
That part. Mm-hmm. Bro, he said they wish to be a black woman so bad. Not a black man, but a black woman. I'm done. Oh Lord. What's in the firmament? Your thoughts? It's
Okay.
one as above, so below. So we could question that. There's one deep down in the ocean as well. I wouldn't even know.
Hold on, let me see this one.
Is Helios the same as Jupiter or Zeus?
Jupiter is what god is that? I believe Jupiter is Zeus, supposed to be Zeus. Matter of fact, yeah, I believe Jupiter is supposed to represent Zeus. I believe. I have to go check that because I got so many myths in my head it don't make no damn sense. But Jupiter is supposed to represent Zeus. Because if you make it a point to delve off into many myths, a lot of them overlap, especially Roman and Greek myths and stuff. They just change up the names, but essentially they have the same characteristics and stuff. So sometimes you can kind of get it muddies the waters a little bit when you're talking about the moon representation, sun representations, because we know that the current names of the planets are Roman names. Most of them, and some of them have a little bit of Greek here and there, but most of them are Roman names, Jupiter and all of that different stuff. They change the names to conceal the gods. They change the name to conceal the gods. So that's very important for us to understand. We also know, even with names, do you know that George, you see George Washington, George is another name for Zeus. George is another name for Zeus. So when they've been putting these rituals in front of your face, like George Zimmerman, George, the other, what's the other George name who got killed by the police officer?
George Floyd.
Floyd. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? George Washington being the founder, Georgia named after George. George is a site of Zeus. Zeus was the founder of this nation. George Washington was, that's why they commemorate him as a god in that chapel where he looks like a god, because he's supposed to be Zeus. Okay, so that's something that people have to understand about that. Man, let me get to this. I want to see this video, where this video is at. This guy has a TikTok video. I'm okay. I'm gonna share my screen. Hopefully it play. I know it should play. I think it should play. So I'm gonna share my screen with this. Let's see. Okay, so hopefully this plays. It's this one, but it's ones that's much more sophisticated. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen the cities in the sky and all that different stuff.
Yes, one of my sisters in the chat yesterday said that they had the cities in the sky. My sister seen them. She said it was like gold. Yeah, my sister be seeing a lot of stuff. She used to sleepwalk. People that sleepwalk are doing a whole bunch of things in their sleep.
Now, okay. So you see what this brother said. This brother said, I wouldn't be surprised if they were trying to do some sort of hoax and blah, blah, blah.
No, it's not playing. It's not playing, brother. The screen sharing, but it's not playing the video. It's just showing like all the different videos you have on there.
Oh, it didn't play that last video?
No, it's just showing all the videos.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let's see.
I thought you were trying to pull it up.
No, I was trying to see on YouTube. I just looked up this. Is my screen still being shared though?
No, it stopped sharing now.
Okay. All right.
It was sharing though.
All right. Okay, so
okay, there you go.
Where was it at? Okay, this one I wanted to show.
No, Skywalker.
Now, the point that I'm trying to make from that is that the brother in the last video, he talked about how, and then we've seen cities being floated. China has done all of this different stuff. And the crazy part about it is that we say, oh, I think they're going to try something else. That they already did it. They already been did it and got away with it. So it's so crazy how when people talk about, I'm up on it, Project Bluebeam, I've heard about this. This is something that they may try to do. And and so we have to be prepared for that, because you'll see a lot of people seeing things, even if you think you see it with your own eyes. You have to understand that they have this technology all across the globe and can create holographic images all across the globe. You see what I'm saying? So even if we see something, we're going to have to be able to logically deduce at a real quick time to see, to know whether or not this is really real, because the eyes will deceive you. You see what I'm saying? And how do we know that this happened? Well, it happened in an event that these blancos called September 11th, 2001. Okay. Now, if you go back and because I don't have enough time to do it, because I know I want to wrap this up in a little bit, but if you go back, you can do your research on your own. It was testimony from a lot of individuals during that time that said that when the plane flew over, they couldn't hear a sound. That was a hologram. And how do you know it was a hologram? It's because there's no way a plane is going to fly and disappear into a building, especially if that building is made of steel, and most planes are made of aluminum. All you got to do is be a chemist. You ain't got to be a chemist to know that. Aluminum is not going to go through steel. I challenge you to take you can put 50 pieces of aluminum together, hit them through, it's not going through steel. It's not going through steel. You see what I'm saying? So when the guy who was a computer programmer, he took out the planes and just left the holographic images out, and he just saw explosions, which a lot of people say that they heard. So they've already produced this technology, but they always do this technology before you're prepared for it. So you end up falling for it. Just like how when they went to the moon and shit, they had a little bit of technology that we wasn't prepared for, so they're able to get away with it. Most people was hearing about the shit on the radio. They didn't even get an opportunity to watch it on TV, right? Because you had to be able to first afford a TV. Then when you're able to afford TVs and all this different shit, them bitch got holographic shit. So then they throw a September 11th your way and shit. Because you thinking these motherfuckers ain't already got the shit. But they always use technology that's 10, 20 years ahead of its time now. So by the time you catch up to it, be like, damn, they had this shit 10, 20 years. But and you'll believe what you see. So yeah, that's all important. That's all important. And then it's just and the brother is right. He said technology. Yeah, I mean, most people don't even remember their own phone number right now. We got to look back at our phone just to give somebody else our phone number and shit. We used to carry around 8, 9 numbers in our head, especially if you're an 80s baby. You know what I'm saying? So dumbing down the nation, that's an understatement. With the food and everything else and all other toxic stuff that we put in our bodies and our minds. Yeah, they've done a number on us. They've done a complete number on us. But yeah, with that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, Sis Star. If you got something else to contribute or to say, or the the chat wants to talk about something real quick before we dip out.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions or anything you guys want to chat about before we get up out of here? I'll probably play a video or something for you guys before we get out of here? Anything else? You know, we can kind of do that. It has been a very, very nice build. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I already know y'all enjoyed it. But I'm glad you guys came in to bring your great, perfect energy in with me and the brother so we can go over this information, get this stuff instilled in us, right? It's always good to, enforce it into your mind and, go over things that are built for your improvement, which is light, right? That light code information. Every time you get some truth into you, it just helps to open up those cells inside you. That's because it's a part of that light, that true energy. So, yeah, I love being in tune to it. I know you guys enjoyed it as well. And thanks again for being here. We're going to play this video. I'm definitely going to still let the brother have his last words on the way out. But we'll play this video real quick, guys. Here we go. Let me see. Let me share it. I wanted to show y'all. This is even, it's in the window. This is off topic, but I'm still going to show it. This is showing Africa via the Grand Canyon. Let me make sure the sound is up. Oh, sis gonna kill me. I gotta show this other video too, but let me play this. Definitely gotta show this one. But it's gonna go into
ancient pyramids in Mississippi and their strange powers. So Mississippi, beautiful land, hold a secret that go against what we usually know. There was ancient pyramids that belonged to a smart group of people a long time ago. Now we're gonna learn about these lost pyramids, which was broken down when the new folk came to America, and how they still impact people today. Now, it's similar to the Bermuda Triangle in a story from the past, way before Columbus came. Before he came to America, a group of people lived here and built things like pyramids. And these pyramids showed just how smart these folks was and how good they was at building and knowing about the stars and all that kind of junk. And people think that these pyramids were very special places for their beliefs, but history books don't talk much about it. Matter of fact, they don't talk at all about it. Now, these pyramids was destroyed and hidden. So when the new folk came from Europe, they took over the land and destroyed a lot of the old stuff because, they ain't made none of them.
Oh, this is the wrong video.
Including these
wrong
pyramids.
title.
Now, they wanted to take away the cultures of the people. It was like the number one way to just slap them in the face. But some say that not all the pyramids was destroyed. Some of them still buried under hills, all over the Mississippi area, all up along the Mississippi River and all that. And these hidden pyramids is waiting to be found and studied. Now, it's like a magic type of thing around them. And what's interesting, these pyramids is thought to have some kind of power that affect people's minds. Just like them strange things that happen up in the Bermuda Triangle. These pyramids said to give off this energy that can change the way we think. And people believe that being near these can make us feel different and even see things that ain't normal. Changing how people think. And people going near the pyramids where the hidden stuff might be, they talk about these strange experiences. And they say they felt that their senses were stronger and they saw things they couldn't explain. And they felt like their minds was different. And this makes us wonder if these old pyramids still have an impact on us even though they're hidden away. Now, the pyramids in Mississippi is important because they tell us about people who lived a long time ago and just how smart they really was. A lot of the stuff we got that we think is new now, that junk ain't new. And we should work to find these pyramids and learn from them and the magic stuff that they got coming up off of them. But it reminds us of the past that it still can affect us in ways we don't understand.
Interesting, huh? And that wasn't that video was actually mislabeled. It was actually a different video about the Grand Canyon, but that was perfect in what we was talking about. What do you think about that, brother?
Oh yeah, the ley lines. I mean, first of all, even when you break down pyramid, pyra, fire, middle, fire in the middle. That's what pyramid means. So a guy had an interesting book when he talked about how obviously they have never found any tombs in the Great Pyramids. They were not places where they kept tombs, even though that's still the conventional belief. But they were these energy centers where that's why they were by bodies of water, and they sent the energy through the pyramids in order to harness the energy in terms of making plasma weapons. But also I encourage people to get this book, the Ankh which is the African origins of electromagnetism, and he talks about the Ankh, the pyramid, and how they stole the idea of electromagnetism, the Om, named after Om, but you start to realize that in fact, did I have that underlined?
That particular frequency.
Yeah, well, even after they named it after. Here's a picture. A relief from the Temple of Hathor at Dendera clearly shows an African civilization in possession of light bulbs, cables, and battery generators thousands of years before Volta, Edison, or even Europe itself existed. So this is a picture of it. That's in the Temple of Hathor. Like they got big light bulbs and shit.
Giant light bulbs.
Yeah, they yup. So yup, and it talks about how the electron is named after the Greek word for amber. You know what I mean? So it talked about how we would use these ankhs to reach up to what's called the ionosphere, which is 30 kilometers or 30 to 60 miles above our head and stuff, which has a tremendous amount of energy. You see what I'm saying? And we use the ankh to generate the energy and take the energy. Matter of fact, there is a science. Look this up on YouTube. It's called electric horticulture. You know what I'm saying? Where you tap the ionosphere to make your plants and stuff or in your crops bigger. You see what I'm saying? So you're doing nothing but, and remember, the ionosphere is nothing but plasma. That's what HARP is. HARP, aims at the ionosphere, at the plasma field. Manipulating the plasma. That's what we were able to do naturally. So when we had this sort of advanced technology, it was because, one, we were the technology. We were living remnants of the technology. And it's not far-fetched that people, especially, it could be different people, but our people in particular were, could be dramatically affected by these energy sources because that's just the nature of ourselves. We're crystals in and of ourselves. We have the ability to not only absorb information, but also transmit it. You know what I mean? So we have to, eventually come to the realization that the most mysterious part about all of this is you. How will you bring out the energy you take in? What gift were you given by the sun? You see what I'm saying? And then, study volcanism. Of course, because that ties into the moon. That ties into a lot of the mysteries and especially with myths and stuff. And because we know that the volcanoes create these rare and precious metals, and they also cause earthquakes and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I actually try to get people to be wary about another explosion from Mount St. Helens. I'm talking about that now. I'm not trying to be a prophet or anything like that, but they've been able to record a lot of seismic activity in Mount St. Helens. You know what I'm saying? Which is increased, over the last 3 or 4 days. Now, remind you, volcanic ash can block out the sun. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be careful about a lot of the things that they're able to manipulate, even though some people posit that, no, this is all divine stuff and blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, you got two divine beings, allowing individuals to do their work for them. They're warring for each. Cures everything but death, and it is said that it was found in a tomb. Black seed oil. I've heard about a lot of the curative properties of black seed oil. But
the black seed itself, like I would suggest don't even waste your time getting the oil unless you're just using it for like certain things, or you just want to take the oil. Get black sativa seeds and literally eat a couple of seeds, 7 to 10 seeds a day. Literally, you can make a tea with it. It will, like, it gives energy. It cleanses you out. First off, it'll start to purify certain things within your blood, but it literally gives you like energy and mental alertness. And it has to be black sativa. If you're getting black seed, make sure it says black sativa seed.
And a lot of times with oils, it also depends upon whether or not it was cold pressed, how it was processed. Right. Will determine how many nutrients that it still has left in it. But yeah, this is primarily one of the reasons why you have to be adamant about trying to get the actual seeds. You know what I'm saying? From all from all. That's why they make sure that they take it out. You see what I'm saying? They make sure they take it out. You can't find a lot of grapes with seeds, a lot of fruits with seeds, and then those that do contain seeds that they can't really get away with, like kiwis and all that different stuff, they just modify them. You see what I'm saying? They're just genetically modified. So, you know, the potency, the whole point is seeds. And then to go to your point too, then they don't even want to let you know what is a seed after that. Rice is a seed, but yet it's promoted as a grain. Grains are seeds. Quinoa, those are seeds. Those are not grains. You could plant them in the dirt and some plants is going to pop out. They're seeds. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah, all those things that we have to redefine what seeds are. See, when our seed diet is when our seeds are our lifestyle, not our diet, because here go them spells again. The first 3 letters in diet I don't like. So when our lifestyle is about the seeds of Mother Earth, you will find out that you would rarely have to take things on in that way because this is your life. You see what I'm saying? Everything about you is that you taking in solar energy. You know, we've taken in the things made with moon crystals. It hasn't worked out so well for us because we've oversaturated ourselves with these crystals. It has dramatically changed up our being, our organism. We have to go back to things that's going to balance out our body. And it's going to be, it's a tough road, brothers and sisters, but you know, it is important. It's extremely important that we at least attempt to do it, especially if we desire to get to the highest level of enlightenment. But yeah, DJ ZP says never fuck with any oil that is not cold pressed. I'm trying to tell you, because that means it ain't got nothing in it.
He said it's very potent. If it's cold pressed, it might be really good. He said he takes a half teaspoon a day. Yeah, but like literally, you could take like 7 to 10, and it's the same thing of the seeds. But
with the seeds and stuff, you get some seeds.
Seeds are so good. You put it with a little bit of honey, a teaspoon of honey, and 7 to 10 seeds a day. Literally will fight off anything. I gave it to people that even had the so-called CV when that was going around when it first came out, and it literally like knock it out the box. I'm just saying.
That's just going back to nature. Period. Like we don't realize like a lot of what we take in is contributing to it, and we'll say that we can have it in moderation. That's a lie. You can't have poison in moderation. You know what I'm saying? Something is going wrong. There's a destabilization process in some part of that that product that you're taking in, and it's starting a destabilization at a molecular level. Let me say it like that, with that product that you're taking in. And so eventually you're not probably going to see it till a week later or so. You might have an abscess, you might start getting a cold or something like that, but the cold just doesn't immediately pop up, right? It begins to slowly take over the body till the body begins to recognize it and tell you like, hey, something's wrong. You have to get some sleep. You have to start getting some fluids in your body, something, right? And so it never comes without the bad stuff. And that's one thing that we got to realize, like just do as much as we possibly can and understand that if we trying to get to that God level, what's the first step to trying to become a God? Thinking like one. The first step in becoming a God is not all the studying and stuff ain't gonna help. Look at a child, like we said. A child think they Superman and ain't read a book yet. They seen Superman fly, now they jumping off the couch. They got a, they got the, you know what I'm saying? They got something over there for a cake. They didn't have to see. They ain't got to know the science of the ins and outs. They just believe. They start thinking like a God. I seen it. I know I can do it. And somehow we got to recapture that childlike personality in ourselves too, because all of this is not going to be about reading and research. Most of it is going to be about how much of it are you going to try to put into practice. And the first part of that is believing what you know. See what I'm saying? Because somebody who believes what they know can beat out a smart man all day. Look at white boys. They can sit up there and they can do all the math. Oh yeah, he makes 4 out of 5 field goals and shooting 90%. They can do all that tough stuff. But can they go on that court and do that shit? No. Not at all. Not at all. They can do all the math and shit. He shot at an angle. He shot from 36 feet. They breaking shit down on the court, 3D, 4D and shit. You're like, God damn, this Blanco smart. But tell that Blanco to go get off from that microphone and dribble that ball and do it. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to do it.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? That's very important for us. It's important for all of us to understand that. Get back to your childlike nature. You know what I'm saying? Indigenous woman says she heard about the benefits of some type of oil. Yeah, these oils, man, tamanu oil, and I found it cold pressed. Yeah, you find cold pressed oil, you doing your thing. Also, like I tell people, man, if you can replace your cocoa, I just advise my other sister, because my older sister's on it. Me and her talk a lot. But my the other sister that's in front of me, because I got two older sisters, you know, she would drink coffee from time to time, and I told her, yeah, get the cocoa, because she was like, I need some magnesium. Doctor say I'm short on magnesium, calcium, manganese, copper. I said, that's all. That's got cocoa in it. Go get some cocoa. Cocoa's got all that stuff in there. Your manganese. I'm talking about the organic cocoa. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They put in the baking section. They like, oh, you just bake with it. You're gonna add or adulterate it with our sugar and butter and shit, and just nullify all of the potent properties of cocoa. But if you just take cocoa, it's bitter like coffee. You know what I'm saying? But you got that cocoa taste. Some people add honey. I don't. I take it in its natural form. I mean, tons of energy and stuff like that. And you get your copper, your manganese, selenium, calcium, phosphorus. It's a superfood. Mind you, it's the scientific term for cocoa was called theobroma, or literally the food of the gods. And the Maya, the Aztec, and the Inca and the Olmecs used to trade cocoa, trade gold for cocoa. That's how important cocoa was to those civilizations. Now, if we great like them, we gotta think about, if this food is supposed to be the food of the gods, why ain't they doing that shit when I'm taking it? Because we told you that crystals bond with each other. And when you got the wrong crystals trying to come into the crystals with the sun, you're going to get abnormal crystals, and the body's not going to operate right. It's going to amplify the properties of those godlike crystals, hands down. That's why you feel so good when you fast and all these things, because you find out that your natural crystals begin to bond with one another, make those repairs. All of a sudden you feel good. And as soon as you feel good, you feel like you can eat the crap again, and you back to square one. So you don't want to keep going through those and repeating those cycles. But yeah, definitely a great build. If there's no any other questions and stuff, I really don't have too much other to say, rather than, I love these builds. Appreciate the opportunity to connect with your audience, and also those who tapped in from the FOF squad. Salute to you guys, and let's just stay vigilant. I mean, let's stay prepared. We'll continue to keep doing these things as often as we can, but it's on us to realize that we have to go back to the beginning, reorganize or reframe our outlook to where we see this world in a totally new light, because we don't have to wait on some supernatural to understand that we live in supernatural. This is a supernatural existence. Because if it wasn't, if it was to be taken away from you and brought back to you, what would you be saying? Oh, it's a miracle. Oh, this regular shit is a miracle. Soon as you can see, if the white man give you eyesight back, you're like, oh my God, I can see, it's a miracle. Everything becomes a miracle once you lose it, because it was always a miracle to begin with.
That's the dang truth.
So that's all I got on that, brothers and sisters.
Yes, that's enough said, bro. You said it. That's enough said. Peace, love, and bliss to everyone that came through. You guys are awesome. As I said, I'm gonna play this last video out of here. It's literally a little informational video, a few minutes, and as it goes out, we ending the stream. So peace, love, and bliss, guys. You guys have a great night. You too, brother. Once again, I appreciate you, and thanks again for coming through and spreading some of your wisdom.
No doubt.
All right. Here we go, guys.
The theory known as the reincarnation trap suggests that life on Earth is inherently filled with suffering, and negative energy accumulated in souls is harvested by beings called archons, derived from the Greek term for rulers. According to this theory, archons deceive souls into reincarnating on Earth using various brainwashing tactics. They may present reincarnation as a means for intellectual and moral advancement, atonement for sins, or contributing to the greater good. This theory claims that archons disguise themselves as deceased loved ones or religious figures to persuade souls. Life reviews are also said to take place, where an individual's past actions are displayed, inducing guilt and a sense of missing out. Archons allegedly employ tactics such as temporarily placing souls in false heavens or hells that align with the individual's religious beliefs, reinforcing the idea of an afterlife and encouraging them to reincarnate. One common deception described in this theory involves a tunnel of light that erases the soul's memories and leads to its reincarnation, perpetuating the cycle. While mainstream scientific consensus does not support the idea of life after death, proponents of reincarnation point to evidence such as verified cases of children recalling past lives with specific details. Near-death experiences, NDEs, are also cited, where individuals often report witnessing a tunnel of light, encounters with loved ones or religious figures, and life reviews. The theory also touches on remote viewing, a CIA-developed technique for perceiving remote locations, which some argue provides evidence of a soul trap. Researchers from the Farsight Institute claim that remote viewers perceive souls being confused and entering a shocking tunnel of light, resulting in memory loss. Consciousness theory is another aspect discussed, proposing that consciousness exists outside the brain and is connected to magnetic fields and phenomena such as the Schumann resonance. The elementary source of consciousness is believed to be electromagnetic waves, which could explain out-of-body experiences, astral projection, and remote viewing. Authors like Robert Monroe and Valdemar Valerian have written extensively about the reincarnation trap and Earth being a prison planet, describing the manipulation of humanity by aliens, soul harvesting, and the potential dangers of reincarnation.
In recent years, a growing number of individuals have come forward to share their profound experiences that challenge the touchy-feely optimism often associated with New Age beliefs. Through near-death experiences, NDEs, past life regressions, and deep trance sessions, many have encountered a stark reality that points to a darker truth. These accounts, coupled with historical texts like the Book of Revelations and the Tibetan Book of the Dead, shed light on a distressing concept. The Earth is an iron prison, a soul trap where suffering and deception prevail. Earth's reality, a world of suffering. One cannot ignore the harsh realities of life on Earth. Global warming, environmental collapse, socio-economic inequalities, wars, disease, and various forms of abuse perpetuate a cycle of suffering. These events manifest as a result of a world intentionally constructed by the Archons to create maximum misery. The laws of physics, such as the second law of thermodynamics, were meticulously tailored to amplify karmic suffering experiences, generating a specific type of energy called loosh. This energy is derived from shattered dreams, lost hope, and the anguish of innocent victims. Unfortunately, these instances are not mere conjecture, but grim realities that occur within our world. The mandatory cycle of punitive reincarnation, Earth, as a prison planet, operates on a system of mandatory punitive reincarnation. Souls are trapped in an endless cycle of rebirth, subjected to karmic penalties set to the maximum extent. For each transgression committed in one life, a corresponding punishment awaits in the next. The design ensures that one's actions in a previous life lead to dire consequences in subsequent incarnations. The Archons further enforce this cycle by wiping the memories of individuals, preventing them from comprehending the reasons behind their repeated suffering. The cycle of punishment and forgetfulness persists until the universe itself succumbs to a heat death, leaving souls trapped indefinitely. The deception of the light trap. Upon death, the soul is often drawn towards a warm and loving light.
That's that moon energy.
Light,
don't fall for it, y'all.
Associated with positive afterlife experiences, can be deceiving. Instead of leading to a peaceful realm, it may serve as an entrance to another form of imprisonment, a prison camp, a famine-stricken land, or a destitute environment. Half of the world's population already lives in grinding poverty, facing hunger, war, disease, illiteracy, and premature death. For these individuals, escape seems impossible, and the prospects of health, peace, prosperity, and self-expression remain distant dreams. Some proponents of New Age ideologies argue that individuals choose their circumstances before birth, perceiving them as valuable soul lessons. However, the staggering reality of famine, holocausts, plagues, wars, and abuse experienced by billions of souls challenges the logic of this viewpoint. It is difficult to comprehend why anyone would willingly select such horrific conditions, particularly before reaching an age of understanding. Moreover, those who propagate the notion of soul lessons often hail from privileged backgrounds and share common cultural biases, which may influence their interpretations of past life regressions and NDEs. The concept of the Earth as a soul trap, designed by the Archons to harvest suffering for their own sustenance, presents a disconcerting perspective on our existence. While proponents of New Age ideologies offer an alternative interpretation, the overwhelming evidence of widespread human suffering demands a critical examination of these beliefs and a re-evaluation of the notion that individuals willingly choose their circumstances for spiritual growth. The experiences of individuals who have endured immense hardships, such as the homeless and addicted, shed light on the flaws in the New Age model. It becomes evident that stretching logic to fit a predetermined narrative of soul lessons fails to address the profound inequalities and traumas that afflict countless souls.
Considering the possibility of the assertions being accurate, one might wonder about the appropriate course of action.
If the concept of Earth as a soul trap governed by malevolent individuals holds truth, how can we navigate it effectively? When you die, don't go into the light.
Don't
How
go.
can we escape the trap? How do we ensure we don't come back to this prison of a planet ruled by evil psychopaths?